Y'all like Gregorian chanting? This is the Every FNF podcast.
I thought we were Gregorian chanting.
No, that's too.
Which is weird because I was Tibetan throat
singing.
singing. God, I can't keep it all straight.
Okay, this is the Every FNF podcast.
Dale Earnhardt.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
This is a good cold open. Actually, this is a good cold open.
Good and cold.
We're good and cold today.
My favorite Halloween candy.
Good and plenty sucks. I must make that very clear. This is my statement.
No, I don't
on the
like them.
pod.
Just to be clear, I don't like
just
it.
a dog shit candy. The worst candy.
This is the most screenshots I've ever had to take for any section of the game.
Yeah, this is a hefty one.
Yeah, hefty one. This one's got mass.
I don't do a good job of keeping track of how many screenshots I take because I just kind of go buck wild.
No,
with
it
them.
says it on the Switch.
Yeah, but I don't delete mine from the previous week.
Oh, okay.
Because I have like 3,000.
That's real, like, chaotic evil energy.
I have like 3,400 screenshots of just Final Fantasy VII, but that's also going back like 3 weeks, which is still just way too fucking much.
That's so good. Alex,
Yes.
how do you feel about Final Fantasy VII after this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm still soaking it in. I'm still wallowing in the live stream a bit.
Okay.
So if we're gonna do a little primer in that respect, this is my favorite part of the game.
Yeah.
This is the part of the game that when I first played through it, I like got so fucking happy and so excited and just so like overwhelmed that I was like, I need to somehow convince every single one of my friends to play this game that will probably take them about 30 hours to get to this point.
Yeah, I know.
So I can talk to them about this part in this game.
Yo, all right, so real question, right? Okay, so like, so that everybody knows, like, we're going to be tying up some threads today, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, in my opinion, I feel like this game does it the best out of any Final Fantasy. I was trying to think of other Final Fantasies and, like, what their big, like, tie-up parts are, like, when they, like, bring everything together, and I'm like, nobody even comes close to this one.
Yeah.
This is, like, the best one.
I think this does the best at like priming you with just like absolute like devastation
Yeah.
leading up to this and then being like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And like having an emotional attachment to it. And then when it all comes together, you're like, holy shit.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I know. You get that anus clenching energy.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so I guess we can just dive on into
Let's
it.
do it. So we got two big, large, huge Micteria.
Double Micteria.
The Micteria is back.
Double actually works there too.
Yeah, I know.
So we just come from Fort Condor.
Yeah. Also, I wanted
Condor
to
yeeted it.
I wanted to point out something that we didn't talk about the last two episodes, because we have the high wind now, so we can fly around the world map. Meteor is just on the world map, too.
Oh, yeah.
We never even mentioned that. Like, a lot of the sky is just taken up by this fucking meteor crashing through the atmosphere.
Yeah, and I know we have talked about it, that the like just the dire like sound like just
the
track is
overworld
playing,
track.
yeah, and it's just
Ooh.
very bleak and everything. So like anytime you're in the world map, you're just like anxious.
Yeah, and there's that constant reminder of just seeing it in the sky,
you just
and you're
see
just
it.
like, oh no.
Exactly.
Yeah. But so we're gonna head back to Medeal. We're gonna go check on the boy
Check
and
on
the
our boy.
gal, and yeah. So you want to get into Medeal?
Yeah, let's
All right, let's
do
do
it
it.
up. I think there's a little bit of extra dialogue here from like townspeople as well.
Yeah.
Let me see. Gotta pull it up. Oh no, too many screenshots.
He's pulling up his pod pants.
Here we go. Okay, cool. So I think a lot of the townsfolk here will like say the same thing that they did before, but there is a woman that's off to like the east of the town. When you talk to her, she says, it's bad enough with earthquakes and meteor, but on top of all that, now the live stream has become active too. I hope it doesn't blow up and cause a panic like it did before. That was really bad, I tell you.
Like it blew up before?
Yeah. So I think it's just like, it's foreshadowing, but it's also like, I think this is something that Medeal is used to.
Maybe
So,
that's why they don't have like much road.
Yeah,
It's
like
all dirt and
not
makeshift.
much road. Everything's kind of elevated pretty high and all of that. Like we were talking
Yeah.
about like how it probably gets hit by like monsoons and stuff, but I think there's a
Yeah.
little more flavor text of like something that they're kind of used to and sort of shapes the town. Like they're
That's kind of like, to me, that's a little bit disturbing. Like, could you imagine like living in like Tornado Alley, USA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except whenever a tornado comes through, anybody affected of it has these like Lovecraftian revelations. And they're just left with Mako infused knowledge.
yeah. Yeah, and it's also the tornadoes are made out of ghosts.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Of all your loved ones and friends.
Right, that's just a thing that they just deal with on the regular.
Yeah, there's another good thing by the bridge where there's the old busted useless key or whatever it's called. The old guy who's standing there, when you talk to him, he says, "That kid got a green stone from that chocobo. I'm so jealous."
Yeah, I did see that.
Which is really cool. So I can't remember if we mentioned that last week.
We didn't.
Okay, which is good because it's like we talked about how we missed it.
Yeah,
and
right.
it's something that you really want because it's really good. So it's like them kind of being like, "Hey, you should probably check out what's going on with these chocobos in this town."
So are there any other NPCs you want to talk about?
I think that's pretty much it. So I walked around and talked to everyone. It was all pretty much the same. So I just went right to the clinic.
Cool. I talked to the two who are right below the clinic or whatever because I felt like they had some relevant things to say.
Yeah.
And one of them said, "So how is the boy? Poor kid. He sure got the worst of whatever it was. Sure hope he gets better soon. Right now is when he really needs to hold on and not give up." And so they're kind of like talking about it. And like you said last time, like it's kind of news to the town that there's this kid who fucking washed up in the live stream and is here now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's been a slow news cycle for Medill. They've been talking about this for weeks.
Yeah.
It was a population of like 7.
Yeah, right.
Which is made me realize maybe why the guy was weird about calling it a clinic because like you could have just it's Joe's place. I mean, the clinic.
Yeah, that's
right.
a good point. Yeah.
But if we go into the clinic, we can talk to the doctor and the nurse, and they kind of tell us that like Tifa's been up all night trying to take care of Cloud, and she might get sick. She's like putting in so much work, you know.
Yeah.
And there's not been any change in his condition or anything like that. So
yeah.
The doctor says, he's like, "Oh, you'll just have to be patient and wait this out. These things take time, just like fine wine."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I was like, that's kind of a weird. Like,
he's got some weird things to say.
Really shitty bedside manner. I feel like it's like, our friend is in a very horrible place.
He's
You're just like, oh, much like a fine wine.
Actually, wait. Do you have him on your screen or anything? Can you see him?
Yes.
He's
got a cool little mustache.
That is FF7 Dr. House.
100%.
You know what he reminds me of is I don't know if you've ever seen Silicon Valley.
No.
I've surprisingly seen a little bit of it.
But Andy Daly has a character who's just a doctor who's again just like really shitty at like communicating with, like being like a good doctor, like just kind of doubting like really you've had sex kind of thing like just like all right, or like doing things like, "Oh man, I want to be you right now," kind of thing.
It's like
the
the doctor in Arrested Development
right.
who always just like says stuff that like sounds like it's like, "Oh, we've lost him," and they're like, "Oh my god, no!" And then
I don't know where he is.
He's like, "Oh, he was in the bathroom or whatever," and like it just always makes things sound so much worse than they actually are.
So we forgot to mention it last time. We saw that this happened, but we forgot to mention it.
Yeah.
If you talk to Cloud at any point in between talking to Tifa coming up and when we first find him, he like says little like fragments of sentences, right?
Yeah.
And like some of them are really weird, you know, and some of them are just like he's still processing the whole thing. Like one of them, he's just like, "Oh, what number am I?" You know, he says that out loud.
Yeah.
So he's still like looking for a number. But there's another set of dialogue that we wanted to talk about and forgot, but you can still do it now, where he says, "A billion mirror fragments, small light, taken, angel, singing voices, Xenogears."
Yeah.
Which like Xenogears is a video game that Square Enix made.
Yep.
I think it's the next like big RPG to come out from Square Enix after FF7.
So. I was thinking about this too, and I'm wondering if that's only in the remastered or whatever that we're playing, or if it was in the original as well.
I went and looked at the trivia from a deal on the fandom page, and it does say that it's in the original one.
Okay, hell yeah. Because I think I saw somewhere a translation of it where it didn't specifically say like Xenogears.
Oh, really?
It said it out more like phonetically, like it was spelled not quite Xenogears the way it is here, but that could have also been like, it might have been like a game facts thing that I saw that someone just like wrote it down or something and just spelled it wrong.
Which, let me tell y'all, if we get through all the Final Fantasies and we ever start delving out into other Square Enix RPGs, Xenogears fucking rules.
Hell yeah.
Put it this way. If, like I said at the beginning of the episode, like if none of the other Final Fantasies have such a good fucking like plot twist, Xenogears would be one that comes close.
Ooh.
It comes real fucking close
Hell
with it.
In the original script, I think it says Xenogears, which is,
Oh,
is like the
yeah.
phonetic spelling in Japanese, probably.
Exactly, yeah.
Gotcha,
So, I mean, which makes sense because the translators were probably like, oh, what does this say? And they just kind of like
Skimmed over it.
did it phonetically rather than being
Yeah.
like, oh, this means Xenogears, that game that Square is probably working on right now, as
Yeah.
a little nod to it.
Yeah. And I don't know how far they were into working on it or anything. All I
Yeah.
do know is that the end of Xenogears had to be cut short to make room for and money for personnel for FF8.
Oh, okay.
So the ending of Xenogears is a little bit weird, where it's like, oh man, it really feels like the bottom fell out of it.
Oh, that's
and
a
it
bummer.
did because FF8 was getting worked on.
Damn.
But it is what it is. I still think it's a masterpiece. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
so yeah, Tifa's here, and she's still just like,
She says,
oh,
it's
I
no
feel so
use.
bad. Yeah, it's no use. Yeah, I don't understand a thing, Cloud. What should I do? What if you never recover for the rest of your life? And like, oh man, it's so heavy. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then the whole place starts shaking.
Yep.
Right? Yo.
It's like an earthquake.
Yeah, and Cloud he's still like bobbing his head and acting weird, but it seems like for the first time he kind of maybe knows where he is or something, and he just says, "They're coming."
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
Well, which is just always such a good like phrase to utter in any kind of like situation
Yeah.
like this where like just
Yeah.
they're coming is always so scary.
Yeah, and then Sid's like, "Whoa, what did you say, Cloud?" And he just goes, and like moans again. And so it's like extra scary. Like, oh my god, wait, how did he know?
Yeah, so Sid's like, damn, what the hell's going on? And I love this part because, like, as this is all happening, like, Tifa kind of falls over. Cloud's, like, freaking out a little bit, like, in his chair. And, like, when you walk over to the next screen, like, the doctor and, like, the nurse is, like, hunching down and, like,
Yeah, she says it's
taking
an
cover.
earthquake.
But Sid is, like, squared up. He's in, like, a
he
fighting
looks like
stance.
he's like in a fist fight
Yeah,
stance.
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
ready to fucking go.
Hell yeah, it's
Yeah, I
so
love
fucking
that.
good. He's got his guard up with his hands, like, to his,
Yeah.
like, temples and shit.
Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, as soon as you walk out, like the screen is like flashing a bunch of different colors and like the camera's kind of darting around and shit. And Sid says the life stream is gushing up from below the surface of the earth. Damn, that's bad. And Tifa runs outside and says, Sid, what's wrong? And he says, nothing. You get Cloud inside quick. And which, I mean, he's already inside, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. And Sid says, hey, don't worry about a thing. I ain't about to die that easily.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, she says, be careful. And he says, okay, here I go. Watch this.
Yeah, and like the entire time this is happening, the screen is kind of flashing different colors. Like,
Right.
not like a strobe flashing, like kind of just like phasing in and out of different colors. So, like,
I get
shit
the idea
seems like
that it's
high
like,
alert.
like, you know how, like, if you've ever been outside in, like, a severe thunderstorm or during
Yeah.
a tornado, like, the colors of the world around you is really weird.
Yeah.
So I get, like, I think that they're trying to kind of give us the effect that the life stream's gushing up and
Yeah,
there's, like, high
exactly.
winds and all this stuff. And so, like,
There's
the
what?
color of
There's
everything.
high winds.
High wind. Yeah, so we walk into the middle of town, or Sid does, with the crew.
Yeah, it plays like a little like one of the like field model like kind of cutscenes where like we're not in control of the character, but like they're
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
around and like it's at a different angle than we've seen Medeal in. Like we see like the
Yeah,
there's like a
yeah.
windmill in the background and it's like still flashing
And we can
there's-
see a good bit of the sky.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
there's like a chaotic like song that I think starts here,
Yeah.
and we
I
just
think
see
it's the weapon
Is that-
song.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
and we see something flying around
Yo,
in the sky.
Ultima Weapon.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah. I think this is the first time we've seen Ultima Weapon outside of the
Yeah.
cutscene, right?
Yeah,
Yes. Ultima Weapon's fucking dope as shit.
it's super cool.
Like, how would you describe it? It's like
it
a.
looks very like Bahamut, like the summon that we have, but it's like all black. It's like completely black. It's very dragon.
I feel like the. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
no, that's no.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, it's all black, and it does remind me of Bahamut from the waist up,
yeah,
I guess, and like, it's almost like a dragon centaur, almost. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Because like it has 6 legs or 2 arms and 4 legs, and like,
Its body looks a bit like the gaping dragon from Dark Souls.
yeah, I could see that.
Like,
yeah,
it's like not quite like centipede like, but it has like 2 sets of like I guess hind legs.
exactly.
So it's-
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, and then like coming out of that body and like tail and everything is the upper body that looks kind of like Bahamut.
Actually, yeah, you know what? It makes sense. Like a centaur would make much more sense in that. It's just
both way, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a dragon. It's half dragon and half other dragon. I
Yeah,
feel like.
yeah.
But instead of where
Exactly,
the
yeah.
normal dragon head would be, it's just the torso of a dragon with arms.
Yeah, right. It's very, like,
Your
it has that-
classic double dragon centaur here.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of like awkward flying around too.
Yeah.
It looks very silly.
Because there's not really much animation to it.
No.
flying. It's kind of just
There's
like
not.
it's like if you had like a transparent like picture of like Ultima Weapon and we're in
You
Photoshop
just
and you just move it left and
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's exactly. It kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, it's kind of
We
silly.
did extreme. We did very specific mocap for this scene. It's just like one ping pong ball on a action figure,
Yeah,
just moving around.
yeah.
They cut staff and personnel because they had to work on Xenogears. So that's why the animation of it's shitty. Yeah, so that and Sid kind of looks up and like the party members that you have also are like kind of running around comically. Like I noticed here, I had Vincent in my party, and Vincent straight up just like Naruto runs, like arms
Really?
behind his back. Like I think
He-
it's probably like him doing something with his like cape. or
Well, back
whatever.
then it was called Sonic running.
Yeah.
He's getting ready to ambush Area 51.
So Vincent's rolling around at the speed of sound. Yeah, but Sid like kind of looks up and everyone's like squaring up along with him, looking at Ultima Weapon, and he says, "Damn, that fucker weapon or that Zoinks."
That was
weapon."
Zoink's weapon. Yeah,
All the times to show up. Okay, then come on, you zoinks.
yeah, yep.
It's like, go on, get.
And like Ultima Weapon like descends. It's up for Sid's challenge. It's like, oh shit, you want to go?
So
You
how
wanna
big
do
is
it?
this supposed to be? Because like the field model is never really accurate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like the battle one is probably right. Because
Yeah.
like it's pretty big, right?
It looks like its wingspan is like as long as the windmill in the background, at least.
Probably, yeah.
So it's
like,
pretty big.
I would say a character is maybe about as big as one of the hind legs.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can find it in the cutscene.
See it in a lineup next to Kang and Kodos and,
Yeah.
and Alf.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, we do see it in the North Crater cutscene, and it seems a lot bigger than like it almost
Yeah.
like dwarfs the High Wind. And right here, you almost get a feeling of like, oh, if it put its head down, it could probably fit on the deck, all right. Like,
Yeah.
You can go up and punch it in the dick.
you can go up and punch it in
It's
its
the perfect
yeah.
size to get punched in the dick. But there actually is a pretty good animation when it like comes at you. Like it kind of puts its hands up and like crosses them in front of its head, like to get ready to like lunge at you. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
throws them back and like swoops down at you.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, and we do get into a battle with it, right?
Yeah, it's weird too because it like it like swipes through your party and the battle doesn't start instantly and it kind of just like
Yeah, yeah.
repositions itself and then the battle starts. I'm like, oh okay.
Yeah, it does like the super anime thing of like swordsmen where they like run through each other
Yeah.
and then pull the sword,
And then one of them's just cut in half.
exactly, yeah, it gives us one of those. So this battle, right?
Mhm.
I had so I want to say something really quick about we didn't mention last time as well, the Ultima materia.
Yeah.
Right. So when you get Ultima, you can't immediately cast it.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
Like every other materia, like they have multiple levels of it. Like fire, you start with fire and then you
And then
level
you
it
get
up. You get
fire
fire
two.
two, exactly.
Yeah.
So Ultima, you equip it and you get nothing.
Yeah, you have to level it up to level 2 to be able to use it.
Exactly. So I went ahead and leveled it up once.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to say that is I had just so many good fucking magics like in this battle.
Yeah.
I had like Ultima, I had the contain, you know what I mean? And like this wasn't even a fight for me because I was just like, boom, 5,000, boom, 6,000. Like,
Yep.
get out of here. And
Yeah.
just like ruined him real fast.
So I had a kind of similar thing because, like I was saying last week, I wanted to do some self-care by level grinding and like leveling up. So I
Yeah.
think I've actually like got a master Ultima at this point. I've got like masters of like half of the summons, like the earlier summons that we've got. I think up to like Titan. I have
Yeah.
like extras of because like after you master a materia or a summon, it splits off and creates a new one that starts at like the base level. So I don't know if I'm necessarily like super over leveled because I was using characters that I like wasn't using previously.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just focusing on like the AP grind.
Yeah.
But in my party I had Sid, Vincent, and Red 13, and I at first I was able to try and like steal from Ultima Weapon, and it said like couldn't steal anything. So it was
Oh, so
like,
it
shit.
has something.
I was like, it has something. I'm gonna use it. But the problem was the steel material that I had equipped was mug. So I was using.
Oh no!
I was using mug the whole time and not getting it, and like just through that, I had like Vincent with like the sniper rifle, and mug.
Yeah.
So he was dealing damage each time.
And you did enough damage to actually
I
send him away.
Yeah, I kept trying to steal and missing it, which is weird because I looked it up afterwards, and you can steal another cursed ring
Okay.
from
all right.
Ultima weapon.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I think I read that those are the only two in the game.
Yeah.
Like you either
yeah,
steal it from Ultima or you get it from the door.
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like before I knew it, the battle was over from me, like not actually trying to attack the whole time. So, like it goes down pretty easy.
Yeah, it's not really tough.
And I think this is like famous for being the easiest weapon
Yeah, probably.
of all of the weapons.
Maybe we'll get to Diamond when we get to Diamond.
Yeah.
But
Well, we didn't really defeat it.
we didn't.
We
True.
just shoot it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
And it does have some other tricks up its sleeve when we meet it later. Like this
It
time,
does-
it's just kind of poking around. Like it doesn't. It's not really giving its all.
Yeah, and it does, it uses Quake 2. It has a thing called Ultima Beam, and it does dish out some heavy damage.
It does. It does.
I had almost like 7,000 HP on Sid because I just
Oh, crap.
I had a bunch of HP.
Plus. Yeah.
because you can buy them in Medial.
Yep.
I mean, up until this point, you can buy them in Medial. So I picked up a few of them and I leveled that up all the way and stuff. So everyone was like pretty like comfortable, but it did knock out Red 13, and then I had to use a Phoenix down, which didn't even really need to, because once you defeat it, you get 0.
Yeah.
Like it just takes off, like we were saying, and you get no experience points or AP,
Right.
and you get no gil or anything.
Hey, you want to hear something neat?
Yeah.
You can always buy HP Plus in Medial.
Oh, really?
Ooh, we'll get there when we get there.
Oh.
All right, anyway,
I did find a picture from the cutscene, and it looks bigger than
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I would give Sid the time of day at all.
yeah, it looks like, so in the cutscene, when we're leaving the northern crater, like the high wind is not even as big as one of its hind legs.
Yeah.
And then when we fight it, we're about as big as one of its hind legs.
Yeah.
So
So
Old man
Shinra.
yells at mountain.
So in the 7 days that Tifa was knocked out in Junon, Shinra developed and used a shrink ray on Ultima Weapon and turned it small.
There's
and
no
now
way
it's
it
just
would
the
have
ultimish weapon.
it would have just squashed Medeal immediately.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely at that size.
But thankfully, Sid saved Medeal, and it's safe.
It's completely safe. Nothing bad will ever happen to Medeal.
Exactly.
I do like Yuffie says, I swear, next time that guy's dead meat.
Hell yeah. Yes.
That guy.
It's that guy.
That guy. Red 13 has a really good line like that too. He says, "Just a little more and I would have beaten him."
Yeah.
Which was
Wait, Red 13 says that?
yeah, which is particularly funny because he was the only one who got knocked out in the fight when I fought him. You were so fucking lucky, dude.
Yeah. You were lucky
so
to stop me.
fucking lucky.
My party stopped me from kicking your
Yeah,
ass.
my back hurts. I'm fucking on probation right now. You're lucky I don't kick your ass, dude.
And then
I had Ket Shi and Red, and Ket said, no matter how many lives I get, it ain't enough.
That's pretty
great.
good. That's pretty
great.
good. Vincent says, and the live stream also appears to be normal.
I was gonna say
oh, wait.
Vincent and Barrett both have bad takes because they say or Barrett says the live stream settled down now too, and
Yeah.
immediately another earthquake begins. And,
Yeah, yeah.
and the live stream starts popping back up. And Sid says, "Damn, you got to be kidding! This is bad. The mainstream is kicking up."
The mainstream.
I know.
I fucking hate mainstream.
Sid shops at Hot Topic. He doesn't like to be mainstream.
He says something way bigger than that last one is on its way. It's no good. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, and then Red says, but what about Tifa and Cloud?
Yeah, all the party members say some version.
Yeah,
of
some
that,
similar,
yeah.
something similar. And Sid's just like, God damn it! Don't have time to worry about anyone but yourself. Don't know when that stream will blow.
Then he says, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
There's no time. Hurry! And then they all just like leave. Right? At first, they like panically run around a little bit in a very cartoony anime way.
yeah, and
Oh, there's the Naruto run I'm looking at right now. Super
Oh,
good.
Great.
Yeah, they kind of like hilariously like Scooby Doo run around, like you
Yeah.
know, like when they run between the doors in Scooby Doo.
yeah, they don't just make like a beeline for the exit. They like kind of run around scrambled like in a panic, and then start
yeah,
running.
and then
to
they start running, right? And then Sid like will pop back up on screen and just
Yeah.
say, "Tifa, Cloud, get out of here!" And we flash back over to Tifa and Cloud in the clinic, and Tifa's like, "Oh God, the tremors are getting worse. Wait a minute, Cloud." And she asks the doctor, she says, isn't there somewhere we should move him? And he's like, it might be safer to move to an open area. And, like,
Yeah.
the doctor's just chilling, man.
Yeah.
He don't give a fuck. Like, when he turns around, he's like, oh, could go to an open area, I guess.
Maybe he's
Yeah.
just really tired of them being here. It's like, yeah, I think you guys should leave.
Yeah, I think you should go to somewhere not here. And Tifa says, don't worry about a thing, Cloud. I'll see to it that you get somewhere safe. And then the doctor freaks out and says, no, the structure can't take it. Hurry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Tifa starts pushing Cloud's wheelchair out of the
Yeah.
clinic, right? And we get a little FMV.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, where we actually get like it's interesting, like
It's one of these cutscenes that's like the field model style, but it's like more polished than that. It's not like a full FMV.
it's actually in the FMV.
Or yeah, I guess it is a full
FMV.
FMV, but it's not
Yeah.
like the ones where they actually look like, pretty good. Like
Yeah, they're still using the like what I call the Popeye arms models.
the little Lego.
It's comparable to the cutscene when Tifa jumps to get on the high wind.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
misses the rope. It's like same with like the weird overexpressive eyes and everything.
Yeah, right. And she's like running and pushing Cloud's wheelchair toward the entrance of Mediel, and like, Mediel starts getting fucked.
It's wild. It's so scary because she makes it like to like I guess the center of town, and then like just like faults open up like
these big
where-
like ground faults.
where the clinic was, and like it just kind of like tilts and then like falls into the earth. Like it just like disappears. Like it's just like
like an enormous like sinkhole or something.
Yeah, it's like collapsing.
It's
Yeah.
just like that movie 2012, except they're moving very slow with a wheelchair.
Yeah, and her eyes are like real big the whole time. She's like, ooh, like running toward the entrance.
Yeah.
But yeah, like every like couple feet that she makes it, like the area she was just at, like gets uprooted and then falls into this giant sinkhole. Right?
Yeah,
So much
exactly.
for the doctor. Also,
Yeah,
R.I.P. Doctor.
let's pour one out for that guy.
Well, no, he's fine though.
Probably.
Let's,
We'll find out.
Let's pour out a fine wine for our homie.
Hey,
the doctor.
yeah, it takes time, like a fine wine.
We gotta wait 5 years before we can pour one out, though,
Yeah.
just because it takes time.
We just got out of a hefty medical bill, maybe.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
yeah. Cloud
yeah.
doesn't have insurance.
Yeah.
The VA is fucking him. Shinra's VA is fucking him. So
But yeah, so Tifa gets like right up to the entrance, right? Like right where we're getting ready to leave Mediel.
Yeah.
And the actual like land that she and Cloud are on uproots and then starts to fall into the live stream.
yeah, and as this is happening, you can actually see the live stream like in the background as like this part of the world is like getting into that like sinkhole territory where like
Yeah.
you can kind of see it behind you. So it's not just like collapsing into the ocean or like anywhere. Like you can actually see the green glow of the live stream.
Yeah, coming up from the earth.
And then it kind of like zooms in pretty close to Tifa and Cloud, and since they're the little like Popeye,
it's such a good picture.
it's kind of goofy. Like
yeah, I really like it.
Cloud is just like wide-eyed. And,
Yeah,
like,
because again, Cloud is despondent, right? He does he even understand what's going on right now? Like,
Yeah.
So his eyes are just blankly staring forward, and Tifa's just like, whoa.
yeah, Tifa's mouth is like agape and stuff.
Yeah.
So then you kind of we see this thing where like Tifa like falls a little bit, and the wheelchair just kind of starts like rolling and going into like the live stream. Like you see the green glow as everything is kind of collapsing.
And then the earth, it turned like the land that they're on tilts to such a degree that they both just completely fall off and fall into the live stream, right? So R.I.P. Tifa and Cloud are dead now.
Yeah, this just made me think of that scene from Mac and Me.
Oh,
where
no.
it's just the kid who like goes down a cliff on a wheelchair.
You send it. You put it in the
Yeah.
signal chat earlier.
Oh my
I
God.
watched it, and like I've never seen that before. So to me, I was just laughing the whole time. I was just like, haha, this is very silly.
Here it comes.
We're gonna watch it.
We're gonna watch it live. So there's Cloud.
This is Paul Rudd's favorite thing to play on
Oh,
every
it's
fucking
so
Conan
good.
O'Brien appearance.
Cloud.
That's Tifa.
There's Tifa. Oh no, the handbrake.
That's
Yeah, that bit.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to think of
that's
what.
Kate Sith.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what Mac is.
Whoa, it looks like I came at a bad time.
Mac is a Moomba.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh my God.
anytime Paul Rudd is like promoting a movie on
Conan.
Conan
Or any
he-
of Conan's show, I should say.
Yeah, he just plays that scene. Like when he's like, "Oh yeah, we got a clip to share from the movie," and he just plays that, and Conan's like, "What was that?" And then like when Ant-Man came out, he was like, I always like to do the thing with the Mac and Me clip, but I can't do it this time because like Marvel's kind of a big deal. Like we
I think
actually
Conan- I
have to
think-
play the thing.
I think, Conan was like, yeah, you actually had to send a guy here with you to make sure you didn't play that clip, and he still plays the
So,
thing.
so they play part of like the Ant-Man trailer and stuff, and it shows like Paul Rudd as Ant-Man running out of an anthill, and then right when the scene transitions, it's just the fucking kid on the wheelchair again and Mac and Me going down the cliff.
That's amazing.
So that's really good.
Yeah,
So-
it's like, oh god, he was doing it since the 90s. But you watch like a 7-minute compilation of just Paul Rudd dropping that. Anyway,
Also,
Yeah.
Paul Rudd was in a Super Nintendo commercial back in the 90s
right.
where he's playing Link's Awakening and other
Oh.
smash hits on the Super
Wow.
NES.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, but then,
All right.
so we're at the end of this like portion where we just see Cloud and Tifa falling into the live stream.
Yeah, so like it's kind of interesting because the live stream is like neither gas nor liquid, I guess.
It's,
Like
it's a regular plasma. You know?
yeah, it's like some kind of other like substrate, like substance. Because like
Yeah.
they're like sinking into it, right? And like
This could be very much like when we're in the City of the Ancients, where like it looks like we should
Yeah.
be wet, but I don't know if
Right.
we're wet.
right, yeah, they're kind of like mystically like floating downwards, and they both seem to be unconscious at
Yeah,
this point.
it definitely seems like water, but it's like they're not drowning in it.
Right.
So it's ectoplasm.
Or it's like that liquid oxygen from the abyss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That. What Alex said. But then we kind of get to a scene where like everything is just a black background,
Right.
and we only see Tifa.
This is kind of creepy too.
Yeah.
Because she starts like spinning and like spinning pretty fast.
I feel like it's like kind of slowly, and then like as all of this is going on, it kind of picks up speed
yeah,
a little bit.
It's kind of unsettling.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
yeah. This kind of starts a whole like string of just unsettling stuff.
Yeah, so
but-
this is gonna be like the part, like everything we've talked about up to this point has just been like so much intro for this.
Yeah.
like this is what this
This is it.
episode is.
Yeah.
So here we go. So Tifa's spinning around in darkness and says, "Where am I? What's happening? Where's Cloud? Cloud, where are you?" And she like tries to run around, but like is not making any headway in any direction
Yeah.
because there's nothing out there. It's just a black screen, right?
Yeah.
And like sounds start playing, and I think maybe it's like the cries of the planet or something.
Yeah,
or like the live stream, some like souls in the live stream, and Tifa's like, "Oh, who is that? I can't hear. What? Who? Like." And,
It's Mako-infused knowledge, man.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then she starts saying, "Wait a minute, I know nothing about that. No, it's not me. I would never do anything like that. Stop it. Stay back."
Yeah, and she like grabs her head and starts kind of like shaking it back and forth, like kind of like the stuff that we've seen Cloud do the entire game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel like there's like
she's in some turmoil here.
something about the voices or whatever of
Yeah.
the live stream know something, and she's like hiding a guilty conscience.
Yeah, and
somehow,
she doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, and she says, "Somebody help me, please, Cloud, help me." And then like she falls to her knees and is holding her head, and then like the spinning just speeds up and speeds up, like it's
Yeah.
just going out of control.
Yeah, and she's still got the black background, and like when she was saying "Someone help me, please," she like starts running, but she's
Right.
kind of just running in place, and there's like nothing to judge like where she is.
Exactly.
And then she falls to her knees, like you were saying.
Yeah, it's very nightmarish. You know?
Yeah.
But the screen fades out as she's spinning
Spinning.
around on her knees, and like when it pulls up, we're in like a weird like area. Like
Yeah.
this is some real Final Fantasy shit. Like,
This is some real end of Evangelion shit.
yeah.
This
Because like
is
I feel
some
like
real Windows 95 screensaver shit.
Hell yeah. Yeah, there's flying toasters. It's a fucking nightmare. This is the
I feel
episode of
like-
The Simpsons where Homer is in Tron.
yeah.
No.
There's marble busts,
No.
I feel like every
dolphins.
with a couple exceptions, every Final Fantasy like always like at some point either ends or goes to some kind of like meta area
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, we're no longer in an area, we're now in the very concept of reason, you know?
The in between, the very concept of reason. That sounds like some shit.
That's a Persona 2 area.
We're about to get into some Psychonauts territory.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Unloading actual
So
baggage.
like could I'll let somebody else try to describe it first, like the area that we're in.
So,
It reminded me of like one of the final areas of Half-Life, the original one.
Yeah.
When you're on like a weird planet, if you ever got that
It's
far.
okay,
But
yeah. So
you're in a floating.
Yeah, it's like you're on like a little island.
It's like a level selection screen in an old platformer, like Spyro.
It's like I was gonna say it's the Crash Bandicoot like world selection area or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean that's kind of accurate-ish, even though like everything's like very like washed out, like it's very like bright, and like the background's all green because you're in the live stream. And then there's like either materia or entire fucking planets just hovering in the fucking air.
So originally I thought it was like moons or like planets, like you were saying, but like thinking about it now, like I just looking at my screenshot, I'm like that might just be like materia because we already know that like
huge materia.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's true.
It's a big old materia, but
big honkin' materia.
But I mean, in the background, it looks like there's like a fucking galaxy back there, like on the right side. So like, I don't know, man. It's real weird.
It's very weird.
But much like a hub selection or whatever, there's 3 bridges that kind of protrude from this little island that's floating there, right? And they all
it's like a circular island.
Yeah. And they kind of go to like it's gonna sound so fucking weird, but they like bridge off into times instead of to places.
Yeah.
Because like down one of them, you can kind of like make out the entrance of Nibelheim or Nibelheim, and then down another one you see like the well.
The well that Cloud and Tifa were sitting on in like the cutscene from like way early in the game.
And the other one leads to Tifa's house's window,
which we don't quite know yet.
And all of this stuff like you don't really recognize for what it is. Like I feel like the well you can kind of recognize, but like the geometry of this place is a little weird, and the way it all connects, like it's kind of uncanny and very like we're probably going to use this word a lot, even though it's like the worst descriptor ever, but like dreamlike.
I was like if you didn't say it, that was the next one I was going to use.
There's no other way to describe it. It feels like you're in a dream.
It's like they took the actual like sets, if this was a film, and just like plopped them in the background. So like okay, we're backing the camera out and you actually see like where the set just ends. It does. You see the entrance in Nibelheim, and it just starts exactly where the camera would be sitting.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that island that we're on, like the very center of it, there's like a center that or a circular like path sort of thing that's just like looks like kind of cobblestones, very similar to like the ones that are in Nibelheim.
Yeah.
And then around it almost looks like you were saying, blown out, but like kind of looks like clouds, like the things in the sky, not like actual clouds.
Well, speaking of clouds, not the things in the sky. So there's
one cloud in the sky.
Okay. So there are 3. So cloud is here 3 times. Plus 1, but there's one
to the listener. That's 4.
There's one sitting in the entrance to each of those 3 areas. And then like taking up a good 1/4 of the screen is like a transparent giant cloud floating in the air in the top left of the screen, and it's like writhing around in pain the whole time the scene plays.
It's got its like hands at its like temples and like writhing around, like you said.
And Tifa wakes up and says, "Where am I?" and sees there's that giant cloud in the sky. It sounds so fucking stupid to say that. And she's like,
giant Mr. Cloud in the sky.
And she says, "Cloud, what is it? What is this? Is this the inside of your dreams, or is it your subconscious? You're searching, aren't you, Cloud? Searching for yourself. Well, I can help too. We'll work together to try to get the real you back. But where do we start?" And at that point, you can kind of run around and talk to the different ones. I didn't mean to do it in order the first time, but I sure as hell did. I think they all say the same thing regardless of whether you talk to them in order or not, though.
I didn't do it in order. I just kind of went with like, I'm going to start like with the one all the way to the left and then circle around like counterclockwise the way I usually do. And that just so happened to be like not the correct order. And they just basically say the first thing that they say.
Even when it's the correct order?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we can go in the correct order. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. You want to give this one?
Sure.
All right.
So when you go up to, when you go like north, I guess is the only way to describe it.
when you go upwards?
Upwards. Forwards, not backwards. Upwards, not
down.
forwards.
Oh yeah, and twirling to the future.
When you go twirling towards freedom, Cloud at like the northmost part of the screen, there's like little like almost like stone paths, but not made of stone. It's more of that like cloud-like material. So you go up to the cloud that's sitting there, like the actual human cloud, or whatever it is here. This part is so goddamn confusing. I shouldn't have said these things look like clouds because holy shit. Alex, cut that out.
They look like Mario bushes.
Yeah.
The same asset, different color.
The Mario bushes, but not with the green color palette, but the white color palette.
Which makes them look kind of like clouds because the bushes were actually clouds. No! Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so when you talk...
Mr. Strife.
When you talk to Mr. Strife sitting at the Nibelheim entrance, he says, "The gates of Nibelheim. 5 years ago, Sephiroth passed through these gates, and ... That's how it all started." And then Tifa says, "It connects to Nibelheim?" And then she goes on and says, "That's right. It's probably best to start from there." And then, they kind of both get up and, start walking towards there. And she says, "Let's go have a look, Cloud. I know it's not easy. I'll be here for you."
Yeah.
And then we can take control of her again.
Yeah, and the camera starts to pull in.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. And so the camera, pulls in during, a little FMV and, to the entrance of Nibelheim. And, the area becomes Nibelheim. And, now we're really there, right? And I would like to point out, the music during this whole thing fucking rules. It's very
so
creepy
good,
and weird.
I think it's the Who Am I song playing again, which is so good.
Yes.
Very good.
So, some choice beats.
It's gonna lap it up.
I think we first hear this when we see young Cloud yelling at old Cloud, giving the black materia.
Oh,
the first
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's right.
So good.
But yeah, so Tifa kind of runs up ahead of Cloud and says, "Cloud, look, here's the well," and that's Gramps Inn, because she's standing in that entrance of Nibelheim, just pointing out things. And I think we mentioned the truck on the Nibelheim episode.
Yeah,
there's a truck, and she says, "The only truck in town. It's been here since we were little kids,
It's
right?"
a tourist attraction.
Yeah, I know.
See the truck.
Yeah.
Take a picture with the truck.
Nibelheim. This winter, come to Nibelheim. Check out
Check out our truck.
Check out our truck. The local flavor. Gramps Inn.
Yeah. Gramps Inn. Stay at the historic Gramps Inn. Yeah. I did like that little bit of flavor, though, that it's it's not just oh, there's the inn. It's they were we need to make it seem more personal because it's a very personal scene. We'll just call him Gramps.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shinra, for restoring this historic
tourist
place.
So Tifa goes on and just says, "This is the Nibelheim you remember, right? It's the same as my Nibelheim. That's why this is our Nibelheim."
Yeah.
And then Cloud phases in.
Yeah, he doesn't walk in, he just phases.
And he's sitting down, and then he slowly stands up and hangs his head down and has his arms down at his side, his shoulders are hanging and all that.
He's I get the feeling throughout these scenes too, Cloud is still kind of despondent, but now that we're in the live stream and everything's more of consciousness than reality, it seems like he's able to communicate a little better.
Yeah.
But he's still in absolute despair.
Right. Of course, yeah. Yeah, and she says, 5 years ago, 2 men from Soldier came, Sephiroth and a young and vibrant soldier. Can you tell me again what happened? And then, Cloud, I think also, just flashes in and out and, flashes, behind Tifa. He doesn't actually move, but he's kind of doing the stuff that we've seen Sephiroth do in the past.
And they kind of flank the entrance of it. And that scene plays out again where Sephiroth walks in and turns around and talks to the soldiers.
Yeah.
And so we see it again. Sephiroth says, "How does it feel?" And during this, Tifa's also talking over Sephiroth, because we've seen this scene multiple times.
Yeah, this is the 5th time now, I feel
so she's narrating it and also kind of asking Cloud questions about it as it happens.
Yeah, so it's playing out the way we've seen it a bunch of times. And there's 2 types of text boxes here, where there's the one that just has the solid blue background that we've talked about
which is
before.
reserved for all the things we've seen before.
Yeah,
that's
Sephiroth talking has that when he says, "How does it feel?"
Yeah.
And then with Tifa's dialogue, it's the same color, but it's translucent. Yeah,
it's translucent because it's not entirely clear.
Yeah, we can see through it a little bit.
But during this, she says, 5 years ago, I saw the real Sephiroth for the very first time. And it's going to be very confusing to
Do you want me to do the Sephiroth parts? Do you
sure,
want me to do the current things?
Yeah, that's all
so as she's saying that, the text pops up that says, "It's your first time back to your hometown in a long time, right? So how does it feel?" I wouldn't know because I don't have a hometown.
And then Cloud talks.
But it's in the text of the scene that was playing.
Yeah,
out.
that's
so
right.
This
yeah.
is,
I
which,
think Cloud's reenacting it with it, because I think, did we see him?
I think this is exactly how it played out before.
Yeah,
because it's the same sort of the text boxes are kind of the indicators here. So it was Cloud in this scene saying it. And he says, "How about your parents?"
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then it's still just Sephiroth standing on screen with our times Cloud and Tifa.
Yeah, and Tifa says, so this is the great Sephiroth.
And Sephiroth continues, my mother is Genova. She died right after she gave birth to me. My father, ...
Tifa says, but to tell the truth, I thought that he was very cold.
What does it matter? All right, let's go.
I remember a foreboding about him. And then the two Shinregards and Cloud walk up, like the same way when Cloud told us the story.
The original one that we saw, it's not like the black-haired one. It's like actually Cloud.
And I like that this time Tifa goes, no, Cloud, I've been hiding it for some time, afraid that if I told you something terrible might happen. But I'm not going to hide anything anymore. You weren't here. Cloud did not come to Nibelheim 5 years ago.
Damn!
And everybody else disappears.
Yeah, and Cloud just hangs, like the Cloud that we have like in our like timeline.
Yeah.
Like current Cloud, like hangs his head low.
And then 5 years ago, Tifa phases in, the one with the cowboy hat.
Yeah, yeah.
And Tifa's narrating, she says, I waited, but Cloud never came. The two that were ordered here were Sephiroth and another person.
Yeah.
And then we see the scene play again where Sephiroth says, all right, let's go.
Let's go.
And we
the
start
two
to
soldiers
see
walk in, and then
that
we
black-haired guy.
The black-haired guy.
Gohan.
Gohan.
Teen Gohan.
Yeah.
He's looking for Mr. Piccolo, and he'll do whatever it takes to find him.
But after that, we're back in that little hub area, and the vision of Nibelheim that we walk to is now gone.
Yeah.
Right, so it's
just
been
like
crossed off.
a gate that's there.
Right.
Tied
and
up.
Tifa says, you mean that the member of Soldier who came with the Sephiroth wasn't Cloud? Or no, wait, no, somebody else says that.
Yeah.
I think it could have been. It could have been. It could have been
anybody.
I would say it was Cloud because like the
Maybe.
one asking the question is not Tifa. Because
Okay,
Tifa
yeah.
knows. I would assume it's Cloud.
Yeah, you're probably right. Okay, so Cloud says, you mean the member of Soldier who came with Sephiroth wasn't Cloud?
Yeah.
And Tifa says, there's nothing that I can say. You must find the answer for yourself. If you can't, then ... Take your time, Cloud. Slowly, little by little, okay?
Yeah.
And that's all we do in the northern area.
The northern area, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's kind of trying to walk him through this to help him kind of see the truth, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah, she is being an ultimate, like, supportive homie. And
Yeah, I know.
that's
Yeah.
so
But-
good.
So when she says nothing I can say, is that more like she doesn't know, or is she just like?
Yeah.
I think you have to kind of remember this from your perspective and not mine.
I think it's and I think it kind of goes into the fact that like right now, like if we'll remember the last time we encountered Sephiroth or like what we thought was Sephiroth, he was saying like, "Oh, I just plucked things from your memory, Tifa, and put it into Cloud's memory." So I think she's trying to be like, "I'm not just going to tell you everything that I know because that could influence."
I do think even with the parts coming up, I think that Tifa genuinely believes at this point that Cloud never showed up at Nibelheim.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's like, no, you weren't there. Like, he never showed up. You never showed up.
I mean, that last scene really like kind of hammered that home because she was like, no, like I was waiting there, like I was sitting at the entrance waiting for Cloud to come back to Nibelheim, and he never showed up.
Right, and I will say this, I like the idea throughout these scenes that like the word "you" and Cloud kind of get confused because like we're kind of talking to the character we know as Cloud since the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Who isn't necessarily the Cloud that Tifa remembers.
Exactly.
And so a lot of times, like, the character we've been playing will be like, oh, so Cloud wasn't there, speaking about this other character, Cloud.
Yeah.
Being like, that's not who I am. I don't know who I am. I'm just some unknown number. And speaking about a Cloud. Right?
Yeah, and like that's
it's very well done.
Yeah.
It's very well done.
Yeah, exactly. Like he just said that, like we were just reading where he's like, the soldier that came with Sephiroth wasn't Cloud, and he's like,
yeah,
and the song that's playing is "Who Am I?"
Right?
Like,
yeah.
Oh, it's so
it's
good.
So good. It's
well, the
good.
last time we kind of saw him, like, in his normal state, or I guess before we found him in Medeal, he was kind of like throwing his identity away. He was like begging for a number. So he's probably still in that state where he's like denying the fact that he is this Cloud.
Yeah, he's like,
right.
I'm not Cloud. I just need a number. And Hojo's like, no, you're a fucking failed experiment. And he's like, what the fuck what is my purpose of existence? Like, why do I exist?
Yeah.
So he's still referring to Cloud as like in the third person right now.
Yeah, super good.
Because he's like still confused if he's like, am I a clone? Am I actually this Cloud? Or
yeah,
like,
it's so good. Oh god, it's fucking good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's so righteous. Okay, so the next thing we can do is go to the left, right, toward the well. And when Tifa goes up and talks to the Cloud sitting in front of the well, he says, "That starry night at the well, and our promises. What if the memory was all just a lie?"
Yeah, and Tifa says, "Don't hurry, Cloud. Don't answer too quickly. Just keep checking all those small emotions, and it'll come back slowly, little by little. Right. like the sky that night. The heavens were filled with stars.
And then we get another cool FMV.
Yeah, the
like,
camera zooms in and...
I like that the end of all the zooms that this part does always zooms into a scene we've already seen before.
Yeah.
Like the entrance to Nibelheim. It zooms into the exact camera perspective where we got the promise at the well.
Yeah.
Right? Very cool.
Yeah. So then it like zooms in and we see like the current Cloud that we were talking to and Tifa just kind of standing on nothing and like just looking up at like the beautiful sky and all of the stars.
Yeah. And she says, from the beginning, okay?
Yeah.
Try and remember, Cloud. I was here wearing these clothes. And like the past Cloud and Tifa like pop in.
Yeah,
right?
the ones that we saw the first time we saw this scene.
Yeah, where he gives her the little promise that if he ever makes it famous, he'll show up and save her. Right?
Yeah.
Tifa says, that's you too. You were so small then and cute.
Oh, very cute.
Sephiroth once said, Cloud made up his memories by listening to my stories. Did you imagine this guy? No, you remembered it. That night, the stars were gorgeous. It was just Cloud and I. We talked at the well. That's why I kept thinking you were the real Cloud. And I still believe you're the Cloud from Nibelheim, but you don't believe in yourself. These memories aren't enough.
Yeah.
Ooh, so good.
And then it like flashes to white and we're back in that like weird
Yeah, so that one was
area.
short.
Yeah.
And she says, Cloud, what about your other memories? No, not memories. A memory is something consciously recalled, right? That's why sometimes it can be mistaken or wrong. And I like that plot device because like we have heard Sephiroth be like, no, everything that he's doing is just memories that you've said. Like you've said something and then he fabricated a memory. Right?
Yeah. And like the thing about that too is like if someone said that to me, it was like, oh yeah, that thing that you think you remember from 5 years ago where you don't have all the details like exactly right. Like that's all like made up and you're fucking like you're nothing, you're like not real or whatever. I like that would fuck me up because I'm like I don't remember what I was doing like on Friday. Like
that fucks me up. I think about that a lot just because like when you replay a memory, you're actually I think remembering it.
Have you heard
last time you remember it?
Have you heard of last Thursdayism? It's like a joke philosophy or whatever, but like it's used in like philosophical arguments sometimes that like you can't disprove that the world wasn't created last Thursday. Like it's not really super useful for like proving things or being like a point to like start on.
Yeah.
But it's just this kind of idea that like anytime that we talk about memories, you could always like somebody could come back and be like, last Thursdayism, baby. It doesn't really matter. You might be remembering it wrong. What if the whole world was created last Thursday and everything else is fabricated, right?
Yeah.
And like again, it's just kind of like a tool.
Yeah, it's like philosophy 101 to like get your brain thinking.
Exactly.
It's kind of being like, oh well, what if all the colors that I see are different colors than the colors that you see?
Exactly.
You're like, okay, well.
Yeah, which again, it's like it's not ultra deep, but it is a useful tool.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, but the reason I brought all that up, though, is that I feel like a lot of times Final Fantasy gets a little, like, up its own butt with crazy logic sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like this is pretty fucking solid logic that Tifa comes up with here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue reading what she says. She says, that's why it must be a fake. If he could recall up that memory, that's it. What about some memory that has to do with me? If I say something, you can't remember it. But if you say something and I remember it too, then we'll know it's a memory, which I feel is like pretty solid.
Yeah, that's
a good idea.
And kind of going back to what we were just saying, where like she doesn't want to like Inception, like the whole like don't think about an elephant and then you're thinking of an elephant. She doesn't want to do that with like the things that she knows is true.
Because then
that weren't lining up with her. And like if we think about all the big major story beats that we've talked about with Tifa, she's always been really hesitant to like talk too deeply about stuff and very dismissive of stuff, being like, no, like,
and
whatever.
And then Cloud also has gaps in his memory. It's all the stuff that Tifa has said at some point are the things that Cloud talks about. And then when she doesn't mention it, he's like, oh, I don't remember or whatever. Yeah. So like that lends credence to the idea that like, oh, okay, your entire memory is just shit that I've said. So I think it's a good idea that she says here. She's like, okay, you remember something.
Yeah. And then I'll like
and I'll see if I remember it. Yeah.
She's Snopes.com.
Yeah. Without all the baggage.
She's like, I'm sorry, Cloud. I'm going to have to give you one Pinocchio.
Oh, no.
You did not walk into Nibelheim with Sephiroth.
She says, talk to me about anything, some important memory to you. Now that you mention it, why did you want to join Soldier in the first place? I always thought that was a sudden decision.
Yeah. And now we get a different type of text where it's like there's no background to it. It's just that white text again.
I feel like so there's the white text and there's also a text box. And I feel like it's the big sky cloud. So
that makes sense,
I hate saying
actually.
that so much. But I think it's the big sky cloud and the cloud standing in front of us both saying at the same time, saying ... I was devastated. I wanted to be noticed.
Yeah, and
It's his inside voice, I think, is what we're kind of really.
That's what you use at the library.
yeah, I think what we're supposed to like gather from this is that like we're in a place like that like extends beyond just like consciousness and like physical like conversation to where like we're kind of like in this realm that has something to do with Cloud. So like his thoughts we can actually hear like almost like telepathically, and also can see what he's saying.
Yeah.
So in this instance, it's the same thing. It's just like you were saying. Yeah. I was devastated. I wanted to be noticed in both of them. Yeah. So I'll take the one that's like the white text, and then if you want to take
there might not be that much. Oh yeah, there's a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And Tifa says, "Someone to notice you."
Well, first,
who?
The blue text goes, "I thought if I got stronger, someone would notice."
Yeah, exactly. And then Tifa says, "Someone to notice you." ... Who? And then the white text says, "Who? You know who I."
You know who.
That's
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the blue text box just says you ... Very sheepish. And I think it's like his inner monologue is being like, obviously it's you, like duh, it's you. But like the real him or whatever, the physical one is like, oh, it's you, like very sheepishly, you know what I mean? And she says, me, why? And the text comes up and says, Tifa, did you forget about those days? And she says, look, I'm sorry, but what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And one of the clouds says, no, it's all right. You were having a hard time back then. You were so busy with your own things. It's only natural that you don't remember me then. And a little child cloud appears.
Yeah, so he was actually in the scene like leading up to this with a lot of the text. He was kind of just standing off on like one of the structures that's just like floating in like the nothingness or whatever. And then he kind of just, I think, like flies down or like, flashes down. So then he's in like the center of the screen.
Right. And she says, then, and he says, it's important to me. I hate to say it, but it's a very important memory. Do you want to see it? Let's hurry. And right there, I think we should go on a break.
Yeah, I agree.
Have a little break because the next two are gonna be some fucking doozies.
Oh yeah,
doozies.
Some doozies.
Yo, doozies.
Gary Ducey.
That's what I'm gonna say.
So we're back, and we're in control of Tifa again.
We're back.
So right now, we're like right in front of like the little Cloud, like young Cloud, I guess.
Yeah.
And we can talk to him, and when you talk to him, he says, "Come on, hurry up."
Yeah, and he kind of like leads us over to the one remaining path, which is just like a window floating in space.
Yeah.
Which the transition here is really cool because of that. But yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like this is the only like geometry that we haven't already seen somewhere. Like we could kind of notice that the Nibelheim gate is the Nibelheim gate. We can kind of notice that the well is the well. This I was just like, oh, I wonder what window that is.
Right.
This is a memory we haven't seen this memory yet.
Correct. Right. Yeah, because and I think that has to do with what T was saying, where she's like, you tell me something that's new.
Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah. Tell me something I don't know, yeah. And the cloud sitting in front of the window says, a sealed up secret wish. Tender memories that no one can ever know. And it was just like, oh boy, it's about to get saucy.
Oh yeah. And he kind of stands up and like walks down and then like makes way for like the little Cloud to like run down and run towards the window.
Yeah, and when you as Tifa talk to the small Cloud, he says, do you know where this window goes to, Tifa? Fine, I'll go. And then the camera does that cool swoop and pan, right?
Yeah.
And the camera actually goes into the window that we're looking at, across the over the shoulders of Cloud and Tifa, and pulls out into the room, and it's Tifa's house. Like
we see a piano that we all know and love.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's Tifa's house. It's pointing right down the exact same screen that we saw when we were in her house.
Yeah, and then Tifa's got kind of like the translucent text box, and she says, "My room."
Oh, also like the sitting down Cloud, the tiny Cloud, and Tifa, like when the camera goes into the room, they're already in the room somehow.
Yeah.
So it's like very like meta weirdness, you know?
Yeah.
They were standing outside, but now they're inside. Whoa.
And I don't know which way is up.
Exactly. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so Tifa in like the translucent text says, my room, and then Cloud says, one of the Clouds says, I think it's supposed to be the little Cloud. He says, it was my first time there. And Tifa says, was it? And Cloud then says, I only used to look up at it from outside. And then like a bunch of kids like appear in the room by the window that we just like came in through.
It's Tifa and three little boys, right?
Yeah.
Hanging out, yeah. And one of them says, hey, look, Cloud's coming, and it shows us a picture. It shows us a camera angle inside Tifa's room, aiming outward into the courtyard of Nibelheim.
Yeah.
And like little tiny clouds like running up to Tifa's house.
Exactly.
And one of them says, "You think he wants to come in?"
Yeah.
And Tifa says, or the current Tifa says, "Was that the first day that you came into my room?" "Well, that's right. We live next to each other, but I didn't really know you that well. I've known you since we were children, and I always thought that we were close."
Yeah. And then it shifts back to like the angle that we've seen with like the piano, and we see everyone kind of standing in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And Tifa kind of just walks forward, and then the current Tifa is saying, "Now," she says, "now that you mention it, I don't recall you ever being in my room." And then someone says, I think it's another Cloud.
Yeah.
He says, "Tifa always used to have her own group." And then
Tifa says, "That's right."
Yeah.
And Cloud says, "I thought they all were stupid."
Tifa says, "What?"
Yeah, I know. He says, "You were all childish, laughing at every little stupid thing."
And Tifa says, "But we were children then."
And I like that Cloud says, "I know, I was the stupid one."
With like respect, because I feel like that was getting into kind of like bad territory.
We were freshmen.
We were merely freshmen.
I think that like that's part of what I love about this section of the game is that it shows. I mean, like again, Cloud's a child, right? So like whatever, but like he has a very like weird, like problematic stance here. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like he's very like possessive of this girl who lives next door that he doesn't even talk to.
Yeah, and he's like, I wanted to hang out with her and I wanted to be like a part of the group, but they never really invited me, so like that's like,
so I hate them and they're all stupid and terrible. And it's really wild, and that's why I love that about this, is that it's very like it's complex in a way. You know what I mean?
Because it's like kind of relatable, and then it's also like like because I feel like a lot of people have been there where they feel like ostracized from the group of people that they want to be around, or they're too shy or nervous to talk to someone, and it's like,
or like even during their youth they had problematic.
That's
like,
what I mean. Yeah,
views on
exactly.
things.
Exactly. Yeah, and like kind of doubling down on it and being like, no, like I am the one who's above them, and they're stupid for not like seeing that about me.
Yeah, right.
Which is like not a good stance. So the fact that he was like, "Oh no, I know that like you guys weren't the stupid ones, like I was the stupid one."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I
It
love
does
that.
show that he has a little bit of reflection on it.
Yeah, and he says, "I really wanted to play with everyone, but you never let me in the group." Then later, I started thinking I was different. That I was different from all those immature kids. That then maybe.
And like when he says then maybe, a shadow cloud appears in the room. It's just like Cloud, but it's completely black.
So we're now 3 clouds deep.
We are, yeah. And there's that text with no box behind it. It says, "Just maybe they would invite me in. I thought that might happen, so I hung around." And the little kid Cloud says, "I was so prejudiced and weak."
Yeah.
And then the shadow Cloud says again, "That night I asked Tifa to come out to the well. I thought to myself Tifa would never come, that she hated me."
Mm-hmm.
And Tifa says, "It was so sudden. I was a bit surprised, but it's true that we weren't that close. But after you left town, I really did think about you a lot. I used to wonder how Cloud was doing. I wondered if you were able to get into Soldier. I started reading the newspapers, thinking I might see an article about you." Yeah. And I like this line's pretty good because again we're kind of talking to like these weird meta clouds, you know.
Yeah.
And the little one says, "Thanks, Tifa. Tell him what you told me later. He'll probably be so happy."
Yeah.
So which is again is like that we're like talking to some weird meta subconscious Cloud, but in a way that like the real Cloud, the guy who we've been partying with the whole time, isn't really in control and may not even recall what is happening right now when he wakes up.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and Tifa just says like, "Okay."
Okay, yeah, okay with exclamation mark. I think she's like, "Oh, I would like that too," you know.
Yeah, and then she's kind of reacting to something that's going on in the scene. She says, "Huh? What happened on this day? Was it a special day?" And then like the little Cloud says, "This was the day that ... And then like the like shadow Cloud or whatever it is, like just the white text says Tifa's mother, and then it kind of like
flashes to white.
Like white fades in and the screen's completely white, and Tifa says the day mom died, and then it goes back to that angle where we see like out into the courtyard and see Tifa's friends around her, and she's just like on the ground, like she's been this way the whole time throughout this scene where she's like
she's holding her knees and sitting on the ground.
And she's like has her head buried in it, and she looks like she's really really upset, and now we know why.
Right. Yeah.
And this line fucking broke my heart. No. She's just sitting there and she says, "I want to see mom."
Yeah, I know. So
then,
rough.
Yeah, and she gets up and just like kind of starts walking, and then it flashes over to Mount Nebel.
Yeah. So it has like the kids at Mount Nebel, and as it's panning over Mount Nebel, she says, and this is Tifa at the time. Right?
Yeah.
Saying, I wonder if there's anything beyond that mountain. And one of her friends says, Mount Nebel is scary. Many people have died there. No one crosses that mountain alive.
Yeah, and then Tifa says, how about those that died? Did Mom pass through the mountains?
And she says, I'm going.
Yeah, and she
She's
kinda
very like
starts-
little kid.
She
Like,
starts walking
yeah.
through where it's like, you know, she has to face death, like the death of her mother, and the only way that she can kind of grasp it is being like, oh well, I don't know what's beyond this mountain. Maybe my mom's beyond there. Like no one can get across it without dying. So maybe that's how like dead people also cross it.
Yeah, and all like she starts walking the mountain path, and some of her friends follow her. One of them is like, oh, I don't know about this, and just like stands behind the whole time. And Little Cloud runs up, right?
Yeah.
Like, and this is actually like Little Cloud at the time. This isn't like a apparition. Like this is a memory that we're seeing. That the younger Cloud saw those kids walking Mount Nebel and like trailed behind them a little ways behind them.
Yeah, so they're all kind of walking slowly. The one kid like is like, fuck this, I don't want any part of this, and he runs away. And that's like when Cloud is like running the whole time as Tifa's like leading the way and her two friends are walking slowly behind her. So he's kind of like gaining on them and like catching up with them. And then they make it to that bridge that
that bridge that fell that one time when it was us, the two soldiers, Sephiroth and her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So she like starts walking across the bridge, and then her friends kind of like start going, and it looks like one of them like trips a little bit and like gets scared, and they both look at each other and they both like head back and run away.
Yeah, they won't cross the bridge.
And then Cloud comes up again and is just standing there and continues on after Tifa.
Right.
Yeah, and then the screen transitions again, and it's just a white screen, and now we see like current Tifa, Shadow Cloud, other grown-up Cloud. And laying on the ground is like child Tifa and child Cloud.
God, what a fucking confusing thing to say. Jesus, yeah. But yeah, it's all the screen's completely white. So that bridge is absolutely safe.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then
Still there.
And then there's just like that more of that translucent like text box text.
Current Tifa, our Tifa.
Yeah, and she says, I don't remember the path that I walked. Tifa missed her step. I ran to her, but didn't make it in time. So I think it's like current Cloud.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And he says, we both fell off the cliff. Back then, I only scarred my knees, but... And then, like, I think at this point we get to control Tifa. I think I only talked to, like, the Shadow Cloud, which, like, triggered the next scene. I don't know if you can talk to any of the other ones.
No, I just talked to the...
Yeah, so when that happens, you see, like, two adult figures, like, walking into the scene.
Yeah, I think it's the store owner and Tifa's father run in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the store owner picks up Tifa, child Tifa. And Tifa's dad runs over to Cloud and says, Cloud, why did you bring Tifa to a place like this? What the hell's the matter with you? What if she dies?
Yeah.
And then they carry her away.
Yeah,
right?
just leave him, which is shitty.
And they leave him, yeah.
A shitty thing to do as an adult.
Yeah. And so the current Cloud says, Tifa was in a coma for 7 days. We all thought that she wouldn't make it. If only I could have saved her. I was so angry at myself for my weakness. And ever since then, I felt that Tifa blamed me. I went out of control. I'd get into fights with anyone. And that was the first time I heard about Sephiroth. And it's like the screen goes completely black at that point. I thought that if I were strong like Sephiroth, then ... Yeah. And then we're back in the little hub again.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, if I could just get stronger, then even Tifa would have to notice me.
Yeah.
And she says, oh, so that was it. I'm sorry, Cloud. If only I had remembered more clearly what happened, I could have done something sooner. And Cloud says, it's not your fault, Tifa.
Yeah. Again, really good way to react to that situation.
Yeah, he understands that he was...
That can go in two paths where it's like he's like, oh, I thought, you know, like he's reacting to all of this, and like he could be like, oh yeah, all of my troubles and all of my like worries and shit are because of Tifa. And it's like, no, like he's realizing that it's him.
I feel like... I think the younger Cloud probably thought that, though.
I don't know, but I think we're going to get to it here. I think he doesn't. I think he's like...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, like pre-Soldier, pre-Shinra.
Yeah.
Like, that era, Cloud, when he was like, oh, your friends are fucking stupid.
Yeah, no, but like, I think this is kind of where he starts to realize that, because... And we'll continue on. I think there's a bit of dialogue that goes into what I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
After this.
That's fine.
And Tifa goes, but I remember back when we were 8. That's it. Now I know. You weren't created 5 years ago. My childhood memories weren't all made up. Hang in there, Cloud. Just a little longer. You've almost found the real you.
Yeah, I know. So she says, let's go back to Nibelheim again. The truth is right there. We almost have the answer right in the palm of our hands.
Yeah.
And it shows them running into the Nibelheim mirage or
whatever
zone.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. And they appear in Nibelheim, right? Like they're in like the town square as we see it when we run around Nibelheim.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like running aimlessly, like toward the Shinra mansion. And I like that Tifa just kind of stops and is like, Cloud, wait, where are you going? 'Cause, like they were like, yeah, let's go run into Nibelheim and figure out the truth. And she's like, wait, hold on, where are we going?
Yeah. So I think
like no plan.
I think the thing that I was thinking about of like why like Cloud was like starting to like, I think he said like, I thought Tifa hated me.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's not your fault. Like, this was all on me. Like, he kind of has said that as well in the past, too, where he's like...
No, that's the thing is, I think that he understands that, like, now. But just judging by the way that, like, he kind of talked about his youth or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
and starting
again,
to get into fights and all of that.
Yeah, and he's, like, creepily possessive of some girl that he doesn't really know that well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then being like... everything that I'm going to do in my entire life is literally just to impress this girl that I barely know.
It's really weird.
Very weird. Yeah, and I think that he's like, again, because like, it's the kind of things that like people wouldn't share. Again, like secrets too dark for anyone to know.
The tender memories that no one else can know.
Exactly. And so I think that now that like you were saying earlier, like thoughts are just like completely heard in this realm or whatever, like in the live stream, right? So like there's no point in even trying to hide it now. And he's just like, I'm really sorry, I was a fucking asshole. Like what can I say? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting that like she felt guilt from it and he was just like, no, it's not your fault. Like I love that. Like, that's the point that we want to make here.
Yeah, right. No,
At some point,
he got past it.
Yeah. He got past the incel in him.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, when she asks him, where are you going? He's just like two sets of ellipses and he says the reactor and like question mark.
Yeah.
Which like the way I read it is just like the reactor, is that where we're going? And then he kind of doubles down and he goes to the reactor, the Mako reactor of 5 years ago. And then they both run off to it, right?
Yeah, and then we switch back into the scene that we saw before.
Oh man, we see it again.
Where it's Sephiroth standing in front of the big Genova door in the reactor, and Tifa is standing like right behind him, and he slashes her.
Yeah, this is when like, I remember she tries to get the sword away from him, right? They have like a little struggle, and then he slashes her right across the gut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is that scene again that we're seeing.
And she falls and lands where she was, and then instead of this is the part where we remember where Cloud ran in, but this time it's that black-haired soldier.
Exactly, because Cloud wasn't here for it or whatever. So like when we remember Cloud running in and picking Tifa up and moving her to the side and then going fighting Sephiroth or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Instead it was this black-haired soldier.
Yeah, and then Tifa, with like current Tifa says, "Hey, it's Cloud," which is like funny because it's like it's not. It's clearly not. But and he doesn't pick up Tifa.
Yes,
he just runs forward.
Yeah, and so right before he starts running, Cloud says it's very fragmented, but he starts to remember who that is. Oh my god! And we get the name. He says Zack. It's Zack. And Tifa says, "You remembered." Which okay, and look at the next line too. Tifa says, "That's right. It was Zack who came to Nibelheim with Sephiroth."
Yeah.
And before we go on, I feel like this isn't like a spoiler. We know all the pieces now, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this plus this equals this. Aerith's old boyfriend's name is Zack, who was part of Soldier.
Yes.
This is Aerith's first boyfriend.
When Aerith was talking about Cloud to Cloud when they were sitting on top of the slide, she says, "You remind me of my first love, my first boyfriend."
You're so much like him.
And when we went to Gungaga, again, we were talking about this like countless times. Like all of this is like missable, like extra stuff that you can find. Everyone in that town had the same sort of spiky black hair.
Yeah.
All of the men in that town sort of had the same spiky black hair as Zack.
Which Aerith says again, like, oh yeah, my boyfriend's from here or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like you meet his parents.
And when we went in there with Tifa, she was like, no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about any of this.
Yeah,
And the parents were like, oh, our son... I can't remember if they say his name there. Did they say our son Zack?
Yeah, they do say Zack. Yeah.
It's like, do you know Zack from
Soldier?
From Soldier, and like Cloud's like, I don't know. Like I was first. If he was first class, I should know him, kind of thing.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why I didn't know him. So yeah, there it is. It's Zack. Zack was the man the whole time.
Zack.
Which I said to somebody I was gonna wrap up something I brought up on like episode 1 today, where I was like, I'm going to talk about this way far away from now.
Yeah.
We were making jokes that, like, whenever Cloud's hyped up to do stuff, he always, like, does the squats and everything.
Yeah.
And, like, we'll see as we go on through this thing. Like, Zack always did the fucking squats. And I was like, he even picked up his he didn't he thought that he was Zack when he came in so much that he even picked up mannerisms of Zack and
exactly.
different ways of standing. And you remember the pose where he's like, all right guys, let's try to pose and everything, you know what I mean? Everything about Cloud.
Yeah,
so,
I'm going to go a little deeper into that as well soon.
Yeah, soon, because there's a couple little more parts here that we want to get into. Okay,
so,
sorry.
So we see, oh wait, I'm going the wrong direction here.
Oh yeah, while this text is going on, Tifa says, that's right, it was Zack who came to Nibelheim. The camera's still in the room with all the weird monster pods. We don't actually see Zack and Sephiroth face off.
Yeah.
But as Tifa's talking, we see Zack get fucking thrown out of the room.
Yeah, because Sephiroth
he gets
opens...
launched out of the room.
Sephiroth opens the door and goes in, and Zack is just running forward, runs in, and then she gets launched the fuck out, just instantly owned.
Yeah. That's right, because in the cutscene from Cloud's memory or point of view is that we see kind of that flashing standoff with him and Sephiroth in that other room. So this is what we assume is what followed, which is him getting just yeeted right out.
Straight yeeted.
Zack gets yeeted and lands on top of one of the pods.
And then we're going to do the fucking, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the fucking tying it all up.
Moment.
The fucking bow on the package. Here it is. So Tifa says, then where were you, Cloud? And the camera starts shifting around the room, right? It's looking for something. And Tifa says, Cloud, did you see it all? And you see Zack lands on one of the Mako pods, and he's fucking wiped out. He's yeeted. He's done.
He's done.
And Cloud says, I saw everything.
And it's kind of flashing white a little bit.
It's flashing white, and you see a shadowy figure, right? It's completely black, but someone runs up and sees Zack, sees Tifa, grabs the Buster Sword, and runs in to the to where Genova's being stored, right?
Yeah.
And we get that scene again of fucking Sephiroth standing with his arms open before the fucking body of Genova, doing his fucking thing,
doing his T-pose.
Yeah, and
then we finally get a good look at what was there, and it's one of these Shinra soldiers.
It's the Shinra soldier who was standing outside before,
not Capital Soldier, but just one of the MP,
the MPs.
Field models.
Yeah,
and he's got the Buster Sword on his back.
and he runs up, and Sephiroth goes, who are you? And fucking, the MP just fucking runs Sephiroth through.
Yeah.
He just fucking sticks that Buster Sword all the fucking way through him, and it's just boom!
And a text box comes up that says Cloud, and it's the one that's in this scene. It's not one of these memory clouds. And it just says, Mom, Tifa, my town, give it back. I had so much respect for you. I admired you. And then
he starts stepping backward, realizing that he just fucking impaled Sephiroth.
Yeah, with the Buster Sword.
With the fucking Buster Sword. And current Tifa, the Tifa narrating, says, Cloud, and then you see the MP take his helmet off, and it's fucking Cloud. Yes!
Hell yeah.
That's so good. The whole time, the one MP that survived, that didn't fall off fucking the mountains or whatever, was actually Cloud.
Yeah.
Oh, such a good reveal.
And it's really good that we go into as much detail in every scene when we talk about this, because anytime we talked about flashback scenes, I made sure that we would at least mention that there was also two MP soldiers there as well, or in this scene there's the photographer laying on the ground, and also one of the Shinra soldiers.
Yeah, one of the Shinra soldiers laying on the ground. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get through this scene, and then we'll be able to piece together so many things.
Hell yeah.
Tifa says, that's what happened. You were there, and it starts flashing back to multiple scenes, when we saw the little
the Mako
pool.
Fountain.
Yeah, the fountain. And Tifa says, you were there, and you see Tifa, Zack, and the Shinra MP, or Cloud, right? Because he was there. Tifa says, you were watching me. Yeah, I remember. So it was you.
Yeah.
And you see that scene where Tifa's trying to get into the
reactor.
And
the soldier stops him.
Yes, everyone says company secrets.
Yeah.
Well, this is where she said, well, you better take real good
care of me then.
Yep.
She actually said that to the real Cloud, but we didn't know it was him.
Yep, exactly.
God, what a fucking good reveal.
Yeah.
Then we get some text from Zack that says, hey, Cloud, if you're feeling sick, why don't you take that mask off?
Yeah.
And Cloud says, yeah. And it shows the back of the Shinra army truck when we were first introduced to Sephiroth, right?
Right before we fought that dragon that Sephiroth just decimated.
And I remember it during the podcast, you were like, Cloud's being a real dick to this guy because he's like, I don't get sick when I'm on drugs or whatever. And it was actually Zack saying, I don't get sick. And the guy who was sick was Cloud.
Yeah, exactly.
And Cloud says, yeah, this is me. I never made it as a member of Soldier. I even left my hometown telling everyone I was going to join, but I was so embarrassed. I didn't want to see anybody.
Yep.
And yeah, in this scene we see we see the intro again, right, of Sephiroth walking into town, and then the Zack and the two MPs walking up behind him. And at first, Cloud doesn't have his helmet on.
Yeah.
He sees Tifa sitting in the Nibelheim Square.
Yeah, he runs back.
Runs back, grabs his helmet and puts it on, and he comes back in.
Yeah, and then Sephiroth starts his how does it feel like.
And he's actually talking to Cloud.
He's looking directly at Cloud, who's in the full Shinra uniform.
Yeah.
It says, it's your first time back at your hometown in a long time, right?
Mm-hmm. And then we shift to the scene that you were talking about with the photographer and the MP.
Nibelheim's all on fire. The photographer's there. He's dead. Again, we just saw this scene a couple weeks ago.
Is he dead or is he winking at the camera?
Oh yeah, he's
getting
winking.
sorry.
But he's
He knew it was up.
Yeah, he was winking at the camera to be like, "Hey,
he was
guess
like,
what?
Later, the scene's gonna be important.
It's
wink,
gonna
wink.
be even better next time." But yeah, the one who took the picture of Tifa, Zack, and Sephiroth, which is the real picture.
Yeah.
And like we were like, oh, that proves that Cloud wasn't there. The MP that was laying there,
Yeah,
it's fucking
it's
Cloud.
Oh God, so good. And then you see it kind of goes back to the scene we were first looking at, where
Yeah, like
you know-
so, like Cloud's like model like is twitching a little bit and trying to stand up after that, like because I think this is when Tifa and Zack go off to the reactor. So as Nibelheim's on fire, like the soldier, like Soldier Cloud is trying to get up.
Yeah, but I mean, like after that, it goes to the inside the Mako reactor again.
Yeah.
Like right after he just fucking gave Sephiroth the yoink.
Yeah.
And he's like running out of that room where Jenova and Sephiroth was, where
Yeah.
Tifa's laying. And Tifa says, "You came. You kept your promise. You really did come when I was in trouble." And we see that it was Cloud who picked Tifa up and put her over to the side or
Yep.
whatever. And Cloud says, "Sorry, I didn't get there sooner." And she says, "It's all right, Cloud." And then we see... Okay, so I got to point out here. The music during the scene... So you can't speed the scene up if you're playing on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's all locked in because it works with the music.
Yeah.
So, like, when Cloud takes his helmet off and you realize that he was the MP, there's, like, a big dramatic sting right there. And it's, like, still getting more and more epic as it goes on, right? Like, it's still building up to something. And I feel like here's where it takes a little bit of an evil turn right here.
Yeah.
But it's gonna, like, climax in a really cool way. And I looked for the music online and I couldn't find it. Super mad. I don't know what it's called or anything. But it's like a one-way piece. It doesn't loop. It just plays beginning to end.
Yeah.
So Sephiroth comes out of that room and he's like super fucking injured, dude. He's like,
Yeah,
he
he's
just got
limping.
impaled. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like limping.
He's like
And-
got he's got a sword in his hand, and like as he's walking, it's like it's such an erratic walk and like a limp that his sword is just kind of swinging wildly.
Yeah. And like when he first walks into the room, he's like pressing himself against the doorway to like help
Yeah.
him stand up. And he says, "That's just like you."
Yeah.
And then he starts walking down the stairs, and he's holding the head of Jenova
In his hand.
So if you remember when we first saw Jenova in the Shinra mansion, Barrett called it a headless spook, and it was just the body.
Yeah.
And so Sephiroth has had the head of Jenova the whole time.
Yep.
So everything else was there in Shinra
Whoa.
mansion. Yeah.
I
Yep.
forgot about that.
Yep. And he gets to the bottom of the stairs, and like I think they're like wanting you, the player, to really notice that he has the head of Jenova, because he stops for a second and looks at it and like shakes it, and it's like, "Look at this, just so you know, just in case you forgot that it didn't have a head before."
Yeah.
And he
Well,
shakes
there
it.
were probably people playing this on the really shitty sized televisions back in the day.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it's not real big. And he walks off, and Zack says, like the Zack in the scene says, "Cloud, kill Sephiroth."
Yeah.
And Cloud runs after him, and then we're at like that. We're on that screen that we keep making fun of for being like
the OSHA screen.
the OSHA screen. Yeah, like why isn't there a way to get into these fucking reactors without having to like climb down chains and shit?
yeah.
There's no guardrails. Like what the fuck is wrong with this place? So they're like standing on like a catwalk, right?
Yeah.
Like so Sephiroth's walking away, and Cloud runs up behind him and says, "Sephiroth!"
Yeah.
Like real fucking epic. And oh, this is so badass. 'Cause
This is
Cloud
so
kinda,
good.
like runs up on him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Sephiroth just like real casually just like turns halfway around and just sticks his long ass sword right through his shoulder, just
Fucking
all the
stabs
way
him.
through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it like comes out his back and shit, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
like
and-
oh, he just
And Sephiroth
he's
says,
lying.
he says, "Don't push it."
Don't push it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And then Sephiroth fucking lifts Cloud up.
I know, like
Cloud's
on the
still
end of that. It's like, have you
impaled
ever
on
like
his sword?
you know, like, if you ever had, like, you know, like, do, like, weights. I mean, you work out. You do martial arts stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you lift weights close to your body, it's really easy.
Yeah.
But when you try to do it far away from your body, it's like
It
really
sucks,
hard.
yeah.
So like Sephiroth has his long ass sword, and on the very end of it, he's impaled Cloud, and then lifts Cloud up into the fucking air. It's so fucking wild.
Yeah.
Like a fondue.
or if you have one of those like old push brooms and stuff, like when you can pick that thing up like the closer you are to like the head of the broom with all the push
Yeah.
and stuff. But if you're like at the very end and try to like lift it up, like
right.
that's so much harder. So
like,
he's just fucking
Sephiroth's fucking jacked, man.
completely swole as
He's
fuck.
swole as fuck.
And Cloud kind of is like struggling a little bit on there.
Yeah.
And he like puts his legs up
He gets-
and fucking like drives himself down.
Years before Undertale comes out, he fills himself with determination.
Yeah. Yeah, like he kind of like grabs the blade and like forces his way back onto the ground.
Yeah, like you said, he brings his legs up and then uses the force of pushing his legs downward to make the sword go back down to the ground, so he's standing on the ground again.
Yeah, and Sephiroth says, "It can't be."
it can't be. And then he fucking and then Cloud grabs the blade, like he grabs the sword by the fucking blade, and then uses it to lift Sephiroth up in the air, like a complete reversal. Oh, it's so badass.
And then he just fucking hucks him off the side of this fucking catwalk.
He yeets him right off that catwalk, man.
Yeah, and Sephiroth just falls down into like a pool of Mako or something, like glowing.
He does a big epic fall.
Yeah.
It's like
This actually give me a lot of vibes from not the twist, but just the energy is like the Star Wars Episode 7, just like with Kylo Ren just like being injured and just like at the end just like pounding his like wound and just like filled with rage.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
just,
yeah.
like just storming through, but like
Yeah.
this is, and of course to get the big catwalk confrontation,
Yeah.
which happens a little bit earlier than that, but it's so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Hell yeah.
Man, what a scene. But yeah, he takes care of Sephiroth, man. Which I was wondering, so like he got impaled by the Buster Sword. He wasn't like cut in half or anything. But I think that's probably rationale for why Sephiroth doesn't have a lower half.
Yeah.
When we find his actual body
Yeah, it could
in
be.
the Northern Crater.
Because he was already like damaged and stuff, and then I guess the fall is like what did it in.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
Mako right in the gut.
Yeah, and I take it that like because he fell into we don't really know like the science behind Mako reactors or anything, but like I don't think it's too crazy to think that they're like pulling up Mako energy from the life stream or something like that. And
They probably found him in like the garbage disposal or something.
yeah, it could be.
They're fracking it.
Yeah, but I get the idea that like at least this is like I'm doing a little bit of a reach. This is a little bit of like headcanon shit or whatever.
Sure.
But I was like, okay, it's the life stream, which is like all living energy and all souls. So maybe even if he was like mortally wounded, like he's fucking done, his fucking lower half's cut off, or say like Darth Maul, that like being in the life stream was enough for him to continue to live.
Could be, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's life energy, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, even if he was, like, bloodless down there, he would at least have, like, that last bit of, like, life energy to keep him alive.
Exactly,
Yeah.
And it could also be a thing with, like, what we already know of Genova. Because he's got Genova's head, and, like...
Oh, that's right. That's
Genova
right.
can kind of always just, like,
Shape-shift
shapeshift and repair itself, and, like, you know...
That's true. And he's full of Genova cells and everything.
Exactly,
so,
yeah. So I think it's kind of like there was probably, like, a merger sort of thing that's happening there.
Yeah. Which actually, now that I think about it, I don't think that was the big reveal of where Cloud was.
Yeah.
But I think the reveal of how Genova and Sephiroth are related is actually, we haven't done that yet, have we?
I don't think we've got.
I think that
quite
comes up
there,
later. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'll kind of leave that there.
Yeah, we'll leave that there.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're back in that hub again. Whoa.
This is like real like prestige.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
It was like, what? You were there.
I love
You
that,
were
like,
there.
I love that you sent us a message on the group signal or whatever, where you were just like playing through the next part of the game, and then like the head blow or the mind blow emoji, and Carl was just like, "Welcome to the podcast." Yeah, dude. Oh my god,
I fucking love it so
it's
much.
it's super effective because it justifies all these little things like. Because, like Tifa said in the previous scene, like, oh yeah, all these memories you have of this is because I told you, because I was there, but it doesn't really count for all the things he remembers when he wasn't there, or shouldn't
Right.
be there, which him being like a fly on the wall, basically just an extra in the background that we
Right.
see there all the whole time is such a good way of like patching up those little holes.
Oh yeah.
Where like, oh, he's just projecting himself into the scene that he was there for, but like not in.
Yeah.
But he's inserting himself into Zack's position.
I also like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So
I know,
cool.
it's so good.
It's so clever.
It is. It's so good.
Yeah.
And like the idea that like I know I kind of brought this up already, but I wanted to touch on it again after we got to that part. That like the joke we keep making about like, oh, time to practice our poses, you know, where like Cloud was like, I'm gonna show this Shinra MP a cool pose.
Yeah.
It was actually Zack showing us as Cloud the cool pose, and Cloud uses that pose constantly through the game whenever he's getting sassy.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
even
and-
taught to the Shinra.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, and it's so good because it kind of just like.
Everybody in Junon was saying that he fits, like he looks really good in that
Yeah.
MP uniform
It's
too.
my destiny.
Yeah.
And I just love so much how like it's like a joke about like Cloud being like, oh, he's like always doing this pose and stuff, and it's like he fucking like he's always kind of projected himself onto Zack to the point where like everyone's like, oh yeah, Cloud, he's the guy who does that cool pose, and it's like, no, he wasn't the original one to do it.
I know.
It just works on so many levels.
And like, yeah, and then the fact that like, you know, when we had Aerith on the team, she was always saying like, man, you were really so much like Zack. Like it's
Yeah.
wild how much you all are exactly the same.
Yeah.
And like, you know, Aerith says on the Ferris wheel, she's like, I really want to meet you though. Like, who are you? And he
Yeah.
like doesn't understand what she's saying. Like, what do you mean? I'm me. I'm right here. And she's like, yeah, but you're not you, are you? And the thing is like, he was so like Zack because he took over Zack's life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oof.
All along, the final boss was imposter syndrome.
So we have yet to find out where the hell Zack is.
Oh, we'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
find out. Actually, technically, we already know where Zack is, but we
Yeah.
haven't drawn the threads together. Like we actually have the information.
Yeah, we've discussed
We've
it.
explicitly discussed the information of where Zack is, but we don't have the thread yet to tie them together.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little ways
Ooh.
until we
Yeah.
do it.
I think
God,
that was,
this game is so good.
I think that was something that I missed on all of my playthroughs, and it wasn't until you were reading it that
Yeah,
I,
and
that
you're
I
like,
realized it on the pod, and I was like, oh, whoa. Oh, whoa.
Yeah, whoa, I know, right? Yeah. Whoa.
So
Whoa.
go back through all of our episodes and listen for that.
If you take the word from every episode and arrange them in the right order, you can make 22 more episodes.
God, man, like there's more to talk about, but I do like sitting here and just riffing on this part for just a second because
It's
like
so good.
what a fucking payoff.
Yeah,
What a
like,
fucking
this
payoff.
This is like the culmination of why this game became like so immensely like
Yeah.
my favorite. Because I was like leading up to this, I was just like, fuck, man, like. I thought Cloud was such a cool character, and like all along he like wasn't cool. He was basically just like copying this other guy or something.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't even there. Like he might be made up. He might not even be like real.
Yeah.
And then this happens. I was like, he was there the whole time.
I know,
He's been
I
cool the
know,
whole
I
fucking
know.
time.
And not only that, he was like the cool one. In the
Yeah,
end.
he ended up being the cool one. Like he wasn't even a fucking soldier.
He was a fucking
He was-
clutch performer.
He was like Hojo would have said he's a failed experiment or whatever, but he fucking took down Sephiroth.
He took down fucking Sephiroth.
like
dude.
Zack was like the one who was
Yeah,
the closest
and
to squaring
If
up.
you remember when we were in Calm the first time, when we're talking about the we're actually doing the flashback ends when Cloud and Sephiroth are squaring off.
Yeah.
And they're like, what happened to you? I mean, there's no way you could have beat Sephiroth. And Cloud's like, oh yeah, I don't remember what happened.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah, it's doing
oh,
those
man.
quick cuts back and
Yeah,
forth of them
yeah.
like squaring up.
Yeah, which I don't like. I would assume the quick cuts was probably Zack because
Yeah.
because Cloud does not square up with Sephiroth at all. When he runs up in there, he just fucking
goes.
impales for you. He just runs up and he's done with it.
Yeah.
He actually hits like Sephiroth's not facing him too. Like when Cloud runs up on him, like he just turns around the last second just in time to see that fucking Buster Sword going through his midsection.
Yeah, he does a backstab for critical damage.
Oh my god.
So anyway, should we continue on with this part?
Hold on, give me 2 seconds. There was one more thing I wanted to say.
Sure.
Oh, so I was talking to friend of the show, Corey,
Hell yeah.
who had a amazing thing to say about it and said that the genius of the plot twist in Final Fantasy VII is that everybody thinks that they know the plot twist, and it's that Aerith dies.
Yeah.
And he's like, but that's the genius of it. That's not the plot twist. They like want you to think that that's the big crazy thing. And then they pull out the big plot twist later when you're not ready for it.
Yep.
And I was like, God, that is so good.
So good.
What a game!
My, what a game.
Ooh,
Oh, boy.
It's the sweet life of Zack and Cloudy.
oh, Cloudy with a chance of
Zach.
Big, huge materia.
Cloudy with
There's
a
a
chance
chance
of
of live
stolen valor.
Yeah, Cloud's just stole Zach's valor.
Stole Zack's valor and then his girlfriend.
Oh.
I can't wait to use that Spider-Man pointing meme.
Fuck, man.
My God, I fucking love this part of the game.
I know.
It's all downhill from here.
It's all downhill from here by Newfound
I
Glory.
will say, so like we've talked before about how like Wimmer said like, oh, this game doesn't get any brighter. They're wrong. From this point on, it gets brighter.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is like the beginning of like the third act.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is like, all right, we're gonna get everybody together. We're gonna fucking take it to them.
It's like the part in any feel good comedy where like everything goes to shit and like Harry and Lloyd hate each other because of the journey that they've been on is like stretched them apart, and then fucking Lloyd's coming down the highway with the moped now, and he's like, we're back.
This is the scene where David Spade and Chris Farley go to the the diner in Tommy Boy, and Chris Farley realizes that he can sell brake pads if he just harnesses that chaotic energy. Tifa is David Spade, and Cloud is Chris Farley.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, all right. So I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
On that note, yeah, we're back in the hub now.
You know, this reminds me a lot of Life Aquatic. If Jeff Goldblum was Cloud being injured on this island and we have to go rescue him. It's like, you came to save me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So Tifa is now talking to like
Goodbye, Cody.
the young Cloud, and she says, Cloud, he says back to her, then this is goodbye, Tifa, until we meet again.
Yep. And then she has like a like an interrobang, right? Just like,
Yeah.
how do you pronounce an interrobang in real life? Is that a gasp?
Definitely.
Every time you see one, it's just the fucking Tim Allen thing.
Yeah, and then all of, like the ghost forms of Cloud that we've like interacted with, they're like now kind of all transparent.
Yeah.
And they start walking towards
The little kid
little
Cloud.
kid Cloud. Yeah, and
And
they
they
go
like
inside.
merge with
And
him.
they make the goofiest fucking noise when they merge with him. It's like the noise that we made when hitting the button in the reactor with Avalanche, where it's like, whoom.
Long.
Yeah, and so it makes a
Okay.
really goofy noise.
Or when
but-
Jesse unlocks the gate.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Encrypted or whatever.
But yeah, and then like after they've all like merged with the little kid Cloud, the giant one who's like still taking up a good portion of the screen,
Yeah.
like descends onto it and like also merges with it.
Yeah, I think he doesn't make a noise interestingly. I think it just kind of like merges into him.
Yeah. And once they all merge, like Cloud's like laying on the ground, and Tifa says, "Cloud," and he starts to stand up, and he's like murmuring, and eventually he goes, Tifa," and she goes, "Oh, Cloud, it's really you, isn't it?" And he says, "Yeah, Tifa, we finally meet again." And Tifa says, "You stupid jerk, you had us all worried sick."
Love that.
And he goes, "Ugh," and like doubles over in pain again.
He says Kurg.
Yeah, he does a Kirk. She says, "Cloud, are you all right?" And he says, "Voice there." And because he's talking about like the live stream, and she says, "Oh, I see. We're in the live stream, aren't we? Everyone's waiting. Let's go back, Cloud. Back to everyone." And he says, "Yeah, I guess so. Come on, Tifa. Let's go home."
I love that.
It's
And
like
they-
Bruce Almighty with you're just going to release a million voices.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Turns
And,
them into emails or whatever.
Yeah, I
yeah.
guess
Then
so.
they all start ascending up through the live stream, I guess.
Yeah.
Which makes it feel like getting lost in the live stream isn't that big of a fucking deal if you
Yeah.
have your wits about you.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I'll just
If you're
opt to float.
if you're a god gamer like Cloud. Yeah, so they float up, and then we're back in like the ruins of Medea.
Oh man, Medeal's all fucked.
Yeah, so like we're on like the shore, like we just see like
It's like a sea of live stream now.
yeah,
Like
I just,
Medeal has
debris.
become a live
The
stream.
word I was looking for was debris, like
Debris.
debris from
the
all
debris.
the debris. It's the debris from all of like the bridges and stuff that we saw. In
Yumi
Medea,
and
just-
debris.
Yumi and debris. But yeah, our whole party is here.
Yeah.
And a sea of like Vago, I guess.
A sea of dew.
Or is it Slurm or whatever?
Oh, that's definitely Baja Blast color.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right
The live
about
stream
that.
tastes like Baja Blast,
There it is. That's canon.
but it's the slushy kind.
You guys want to go
from
out to
Taco Bell?
Taco Bell right after this?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So, like you said, our party is there, and Barrett says, "Yo, you all right, Tifa?" And I do like. Actually, let's see. Yuffie and Sid are looking over Cloud, and then like Vincent and Barrett are looking over Tifa.
Ketchi is looking in an undescript direction,
Yeah, just
so who
downwards.
knows? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Shame.
Tifa says, Barrett, you came back. Cloud, where is he? And Barrett says, don't worry about him. He's a tough one. And Tifa says, Barrett, when I was in the live stream, I saw the real Cloud. I mean, I didn't really find him. Cloud, he found himself. And Barrett says, all right, I know. I shouldn't have doubted. But I can't win against you. You're some kind of lady.
Some kind of lady.
Some kind of lady. Now I really want to go replay this, but just change Cloud's name to Slim Shady.
I found the real Slim Shady. Tifa says, people have so many things pent up inside of themselves, so many things they can never forget. It's strange, isn't it? And she kind of like passes back out.
Yeah.
Right? And Barrett says, yo, Tifa, snap out of it. Tifa, and like
the screen goes
black, right? Yeah. And I really enjoy how the screen comes back up.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a little abrupt, but like I feel like it fits the like just the style of the game.
Yeah, and just
the
the pacing thus far. I feel like too.
Yeah. Because it pops back up, and we're standing in the operations room of the High Wind.
Hell
and
yeah.
Everybody's standing around the board, and like that fucking cool music's playing. You know?
Oh
like,
yeah.
It's very like, all right, team, fucking rally everybody together.
The band's back together.
Boys
Also,
are back in town.
This is
Also, we
the
have
MCR reunion tour. Here we go, baby.
We have our own conference room, just like Shinra, where we can do our own schemes.
Hell yeah. Someone check the vents.
Hey, actually, can I real quick? I don't know how long this podcast is already, but I just wanted to ask this because I was thinking about this while I was driving home from work the other day. When Ketchi was like, "Yo, do you want to listen in on their evil plans or whatever?" Did we have any reason not to go like, "Oh, well, good, they have their own way of doing it. We'll let them just do it and see if it works"? Is there any reason why we jumped in the way and decided to stop them?
I think it's kind of just like Shinra is awful and always awful, so we need to stop them from doing whatever they're doing because they're just gonna fuck shit up more.
Yeah, I think that like was kind of a rationale, but I was like, I don't think we actually had any like explicit reason of like, but if they shoot this rocket at Meteor, then X will happen.
Sid's like, they're not using my fucking rocket.
Yeah, I think that's like the reason that we're doing it. It's just like Barrett's like, I hate Shinra, don't let them do anything, and Sid's like, whatever, I don't.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of like what that whole.
I think it has something to do with the huge materia itself, where it's like they don't explicitly say like we need to protect the huge materia. It cannot be used for this purpose.
Well, that's the thing. Like we may learn some shit about it later, but like at the time there wasn't any really good reason to fucking get in their way except for like, let's go fuck with shit. We're Avalanche.
Yeah, I don't know.
So what we need the huge materia for again?
We don't. We don't need it.
Yeah, it's totally optional.
We just don't want Shinra to have it.
Yeah.
But like the thing they were gonna do with it is try to stop Meteor. So like I am kind of like, do we fuck up here? Like,
should we just let them try?
Should we have just? Are we the
bad guys?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we're probably also looking at it with knowledge of like what happens when they do try.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I feel like there's like at least decent reason to be like, they're gonna fuck something up or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, what would we do once we succeeded? Get our own fucking rocket and do it ourselves? Because that's the best idea anybody's had yet.
That's true.
For stopping Meteor.
New NASA.
New NASA.
The Shinra number 27.
Well, we'll get there, won't
Mambo
we?
number 5.
Mambo number 5.
What is the actual Shinra rocket?
Wasn't it 26?
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to ask that question. I was just thinking about it.
good question. No.
Now I'm trying. You just got me thinking about the rocket launching.
Don't ever think.
It launches if everyone flushes the toilets at the same time.
Creation
of water pressure.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many toilets in Rocket Town.
Well, oh god, what's her name? Sid's partner or whatever.
Shira. Yeah.
Shira. Yeah, Shira was using a plunger
from the Cartoon Network show.
Shira was down there using a plunger trying to unplunge one of the toilets. She's like, no, Sid, it's fine.
Yeah.
We need this to be able to get a successful
It doesn't,
launch.
it's just like, if he launches when somebody's down there, it doesn't like burn them up. It's just like all the toilets like backfill. Yeah. I can't have her be down there when all that sewage pipes back up to the toilets.
I've made a mess in the toilet. I don't want her to have to experience it.
Oh.
She's like, Sid, you shouldn't have flushed paper towels. They're not meant for it.
We have a sign on the bathroom door for a reason. We're in our conference room.
That's right.
Which may or may not smell like feces.
And Cloud, yeah,
There's-
it's right next to the Chocobo stable on the.
And it's right next to the guy you give your feces to.
Yeah. So Cloud says, "Everyone, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say." And like Red, classic good boy, says, "Don't say anything, Cloud. All you've been doing is apologizing."
Love that.
I know that feel.
Yeah.
Stop apologizing.
Yeah. Cloud says, I never was in Soldier." And my Switch froze.
Yeah, he says, I never was in Soldier. I made up the story about what
There.
happened 5 years ago and my being in Soldier. I left my village looking for glory, but never made it into Soldier.
Said Soldier 3 times in 3 different sentences.
Yeah,
It's bad.
It's awkward to reread. I mean,
Yeah.
like in the game, it's all in the caps. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the title and stuff. So it like kind of makes more sense.
Right.
But yeah, it's not great to read out loud. And he says, I was so ashamed of being so weak. Then I heard the story from my friend Zack, and I created an illusion of myself made up of what I had seen in my life. And I continued to play the charade as if it were true.
And Barrett says, "Illusion, huh? Pretty damn strong for an illusion." Which reminds me of when Barrett asked Cloud if he's high because we're all seeing Nibelheim.
Does he say the second illusion? Does he actually say the full word illusion?
He does.
Because on mine it says pretty damn strong for illusion, I'd say.
Oh, that's even better. I wish mine said that.
pretty strong for illusion, I'd say.
Cloud says, "Physically, I'm built like someone from Soldier."
Physically, I'm strong as shit.
Yeah, I know. Which
Still
again, we might have another tiny little twist coming up. Anyway,
Yeah.
Is all those squats are finally gonna pay off.
Hojo's plan to clone Sephiroth wasn't that difficult, which is something to say for, like,
Yeah.
what the hell do you know about it? Anyway,
He ordered a kit off 21 and me.
yeah, on Wish.com.
Drop shipped the cloning kit.
It was just the same procedure they use when creating members of Soldier.
Oh, okay.
You see, someone in Soldier isn't simply exposed to Mako energy. Their bodies are actually injected with Genova cells.
Nanomachines.
It's Genova cells, son. For better or worse, only the strong can enter Soldier. It has nothing to do with the Genova reunion. But weak people, like me, get lost in the whole thing. The combination of Genova cells, Sephiroth's strong will, and my own weakness are what created me. Everyone knew that. I'm Cloud, the master of my own illusionary world.
Hell yeah.
But I can't remain trapped in an illusion anymore. I'm going to live my life without pretending. And like Tifa says, "You're sure messed up, Cloud."
Oh, you.
This is the
And
logical conclusion of fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I know. I like Barrett. Barrett says, he goes, "That means he ain't no different from before." But he's like, "We went through all this, but it's the same."
Yeah.
Which is like
think we all
hilarious, but
learned a
also
lesson
kind of
to-
like a warm feeling thing where it's like, yeah, you did learn all these things about you, but like
Yeah.
functionally, like
Yeah.
it's still Cloud.
So I think we learned a big lesson today.
He's like, "Hey everyone, I'm Cloud too." And Aerith is like, "Did somebody say reunion?"
MCR.
Hell yeah.
One high C rings out on piano.
On Tifa's piano.
Yeah. Kate Sith says, "By the way, Cloud, what are you going to do now? Don't tell me you're going to leave the ship." And Cloud says, "I'm the reason why Meteor is falling towards us. That's why I have to do everything in my power to fight this thing." And then Barrett says, "Good, then you're going to keep fighting to save the planet?" And Cloud says, "It's like you always told me, Barrett."
I love
and
this
then
so
here
much.
it comes.
But Barrett like kind of stops for a second. He's like, oh, you mean that?"
Yeah, and Red goes, "What? I don't understand." And like 3 different people at least on the screen says, they all say, there ain't no getting off this train.
Hell yeah. And I think this
Freeze
is actually
frame, credits roll.
this is
Season finale.
and then it's just a quick cut to the train barreling into Corel if you fail.
Yes, so I wanted to bring this up because after last episode, I realized we didn't talk about what happened.
We didn't talk about the fail condition, did we? Too
Wait,
much.
we did a little bit.
We did, yeah.
Okay.
But so, flashback to Corel. We're chasing a train on another train,
Oh, this.
and we crash or don't crash the second train, or I should say the first train.
Where did the second train go?
Where'd the second train go? Where happened to the second?
Where does the engineer sit?
So my theories are that it just crashed into North Korea like 10 minutes after we left.
We're like, "Barrett, you saved us. We all love you. Thank you so much."
And as soon as he walked away.
Barrett's like, "My work here is done." And he walks out, and then it's just like, bam!
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about it. And I was like, where would that other one end?
It was on the
right?
other track, so...
So it was on the other track.
South
Now,
Corel.
do you remember when we had to go flip the
switch
for the bridge
in the little
right?
shack.
Does the other train end in the hole? The guy who's living in the hole? Because I wonder if he was just sitting there living in the hole and he's like, good times. And then all of a sudden the fucking train just goes like, and like just rams in there. We killed the whole guy.
We just have to have like Sarah McLachlan in the arms of an angel playing here in memoriam for the guy in the hole.
Is it Anya that does the who can say where the road goes? Yeah.
Where the train goes.
Where the train goes. Anyway, I do want to say that as soon as everybody says there ain't no getting off this train, everybody just runs out of the operations room.
Yeah, and also the music starts up, which is so fucking
it's so
good.
hype.
Because all of that stuff with Cloud being like, hey, I've had this persona. It's not
I got
really
it wrong
who
then. I
am.
said there was music.
Yeah, so there's no music at all at that point, and then when everyone says there ain't no getting off this train, it plays that fucking swell.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
It just plays the swell leading up to the song. It's so fucking good.
Oh man, yeah, and they're all super excited, running back to the bridge and everything. Like everybody's ready to go, and this is really like the emotional turnaround of the game.
We
right?
can finally feel good again.
Yeah,
Aerith is still dead, still super dead.
Yeah,
but we can feel better about other stuff.
And I feel like it's not disc 3, but I feel like this is act 3 of the game begins right here.
For sure,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah. Because everything from this point on is very directed. Like, we know what we're doing. We know who our enemy is.
We don't know why we're trying to steal the huge materia from Shinra, but we're fucking doing it.
When you go talk to the guy who lets you change party members,
yeah,
he says, "Oh, Cloud, I was so deeply moved by your story. I'm a really weak person, so I can totally understand how you feel, Cloud. No one knows when the fighting will begin, but let's get ready." And then you get to make a party again.
Yeah, I'd like to think that this guy is like, so soon I will be strong like Cloud.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of like yeah, in a good way. Yeah.
It's like soon I will kill Sephiroth.
Yep.
Cloud's a motivational speaker that comes to your high school.
He's Andrew WK of this universe.
Okay, yeah.
So we're back on the bridge, and all of our party's there, and Ket says, "Listen, Cloud, we're right in the middle of a mission for the huge materia, right? I know this is kind of out of the blue, but Junon has an underwater reactor. As far as I can see, that's the only one left.
Yeah.
So that's that. Let's go." And then you can talk to all your party members, and they say some hilarious shit, like Barrett says, "Come on, Cloud, don't, I guess, fuck around." He says, "Zoinks. Don't zoink around. We're going to Junon." Yeah.
I like what Red says. He just says, "I'm glad you're back with us." And like he just leaves it at that. Like,
yeah.
He's just excited.
Sid's a good one. He says, "I know how tough it is being a leader because I've been one. I always forget who has what materia."
Which is incredibly relatable.
I know.
It's hard managing a team, man.
Yeah.
He's like the coach.
So good. And then like the only person, of course, not having a great time about it is Vincent.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just says, "Escape from a world of illusions. I wonder which is better."
Yeah.
It's like, damn, man.
Come on, dude.
But the best interaction. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you can actually talk to Yuffie.
I was gonna say the
yeah.
best interaction is with Yuffie.
Yeah, because
she's
Tifa just says, "Let's do our best, Cloud."
Yeah, and she's out.
Still by the catwalk on the outside.
Still by the catwalk. That's right. Yeah.
She hasn't made it to the bridge yet.
Yep. And it's weird. Her first line is kind of odd, but it's whatever. She says, "How would you even know?" Which is like a weird thing to open on.
Yeah.
But like,
she says, "Huh? How would you even know?"
yeah. You don't know how tough it is getting sick on boats and rides, so please just leave me alone.
I wonder if this is a reference to the flashback where he was getting like,
I was gonna say the big reveal of the game was that Cloud gets sick on trucks.
Yuffie was not there for that reveal.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cloud says, "I really do understand, Yuffie. When I get sick on a flight, it's a real killer. When I was in Soldier, I completely forgot about my motion sickness." And Yuffie says, "Oh."
We just established that he wasn't in Soldier.
Yeah, like,
that
come
son
on,
of a
dude.
bitch. Sorry, go ahead.
When he was with Soldier, I guess.
He
He was
he was
Soldier.
with
Soldier.
Well,
at
can he
least
be-
2 soldiers.
Well,
Yeah.
can you be in? Well, he said he wasn't in Soldier, right?
It might be. I mean, I guess here
He wasn't first class.
he wasn't first class. He wasn't second class. It may be so that all of
He was like a private.
it could be that all of Shinra's military is Soldier, maybe. So even like the MPs technically are Soldier, but you don't like refer to them that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, there is a little bit of weirdness around how I talk to him. But sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, Yuffie says, "Oh, isn't there any way to prevent this? And Cloud says, well, according
to my research.
According to my research. Yeah, it's so dumb. He says,
I subscribe to many newsletters about this.
yeah. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about this.
about motion sickness.
Yeah.
He says,
I didn't have a lot to do in Medial. So.
Yeah, he's just been listening to podcasts the whole time in his chair. He's been listening to
That's why he has been despondent. He's just like...
He's been listening to our future episodes about Xenogears, and that's why he was talking about it.
The reason why he was like completely dumb is because he's been listening to Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Get him!
Get him!
Bam, bam, bam.
I'm going to get us another 1-star review.
Yeah. But yeah, Cloud says, first off, if you're nervous a lot, you won't get sick, which I don't think is true at all.
Yeah, I know. And then like the next line, but you can't always be nervous. Like
always be nervous.
ABN, baby.
ABN.
Well, I guess if you're nervous, your mind's kind of taken off other things.
Preoccupied. I think that's like the
Your butterflies are moving your gut, not the...
Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
But he says, with this much space, your best bet is to move around while you're riding. It also might be a good idea to stretch sometimes, too. But in Soldier, we spent a lot of times in trucks.
That sucked.
That sucked. And then he says, and there's one thing you mustn't do when riding, and that is... ... Read!
Which is actually good advice.
I completely... the worst motion sickness I've gotten is if I'm in a car and try reading a book.
Or playing my Game Boy.
No, yeah.
Trying to get the light just the right angle so I can look at it.
I do hate when I'm driving a car and I start reading a book and then I get into a car crash. I feel pretty bad.
Yeah, and he says, once you get sick, there's nothing anyone can do.
This feels like a weird PSA like poster you see. Like, nothing you mustn't do when riding. Don't read.
Yeah, Donatello and Leonardo come in and they're like, whoa, you definitely don't want to read when you're in a car.
Yeah,
and Alf's there for some reason. I think that's twice now on this episode that I brought up Alf.
Penny from Inspector Gadget's there.
It'll only be once you brought him up when Alex is done editing. Take that, Carl. Now you sound like a fool.
I'll move it to a later episode so we get our...
Yeah, and he continues on and says, I know it's tough. And then Yuffie says, so you're a little better off than me, but I don't feel well. And she says, and then like I think that's the end of that conversation. And if you talk to her again, she says, where's the next stop? Can't you get there any quicker?
Put me in your party so I can get off this ship.
Oh, that's so good.
Cute.
The guy who tells you the story of the crew earlier,
yeah,
he says, oh, yeah, are you using chocobos? I mean, just loading them up and transporting them. Which is like a weird thing to say. But most importantly, Pilot has leveled up to level 8.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, Pilot.
Fuck yeah.
So he's learner pilot level 8, and now he just says, wanna go? Like, ooh, he's become so suave.
Yeah,
he's so confident.
He's getting confident, yeah.
So, Medial, did you guys go back?
I did not. I actually stopped right there.
Okay, so
I went to the guy who you can save.
Should we wait for now? No, I feel like we should do it this
we
time.
should wrap it up now. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So if you go back to Medial, here, I'll even like kind of share my, oh no!
Podcast over.
It's a mess.
Switch.
It's a mess. Medial is not looking great. You can only access like the very first couple feet of the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything else is just a giant live stream pit.
Open up this fucking pit.
What the fuck up, Denny's?
The guy who says, hey there, you're a real beaut when Tiva walks in, he's still there and he says, ahoy, this here's Medial. As you can see, it used to be a quiet little hot springs town.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Everything's gone now, but in a way, I'm kind of glad everything's cleaned out. Feels better this way, ho ho.
Good god, that's dark.
I think that's his solution to gentrification. He's like, you know what? When all the fucking wealthy people of the world start moving here, you just get rid of the whole thing.
Yep.
Could be like the tar pits in California. The La Brea tar pits.
Yeah.
I don't know about them.
They're a tourist attraction.
Oh, okay.
We can see it where I guess there's like a petrified sloth and shit.
Oh, wow.
One of the people there says, isn't the live stream a strange thing? And when they say that, the camera actually pans out over the hole now. And he says, when I die, I wonder if I'll float along in the middle of a warm, gentle stream like this. Really very contemplative. It's very nice. The guy, the shopkeeper who says, we always welcome cash, he's there. And he says, oh, but our stock isn't that great right now, but that's just the way it is here. And, oh man, I will say the one big bummer, like, other than the fact that Medeal's entirely gone.
Yeah.
Now. The lady who was outside the weapons store, who was like, "Hey, come on into the weapons store. My fucking stupid husband or whatever is running the weapons store." This is the one sad thing. She says, "Have you seen my husband? He disappeared during the big earthquake, and I haven't seen him since.
Oh.
I thought he'd be in the store. You don't think he got through that door and went somewhere else, do you?"
Holy shit.
I know. I was like, "Oh, that's fucked."
Okay, so here's my headcanon with that. He finally opens that door, right? It's leading to another dimension. He walks through. It's like a weird like screen transition, like in Coraline when she's going through like, to the other world and all that. And he makes it out onto the other side, and he's just at the fucking cabin at the very top of the Mount Gaia with what's his name?
Oh yeah,
Holtzoff.
With Holtzoff,
he's just at Holtzoff's cabin. He's like, wait, what? Just all the runaway husbands live there. Becomes a sanctuary for them.
I'll call you New Yomsky. But, and I did not know this. I had read before, and I've known about this, that like somehow you can still buy all the equipment, because like when you talk to everybody, they only have like shitty equipment now because all their stocks and everything got blown up.
Stonks.
And all their stonks got blown up. And I knew that you could still buy everything there, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. But there's like a little tiny stretch of land that like juts up, and you can run up it. Like you run like, it's like a severe slant, but you're actually able to run up it and then do a couple little hops, and you end on this like little part that in the very bottom right of the screen, and the doctor, the nurse, and the crazed shopper and their chocobo are up there. Yeah, and the music changes too. Like as soon as you cross like a little threshold, that little ding 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 like
it's
starts
playing the
again.
chocobo music.
Yeah, and God, the best fucking gag. This is like the funniest goddamn thing in this game. The crazed shopper bought so much shit that they have every single item that you could have bought in the town before, and now they sell it all back to you. And they're like, I have all this stuff now, and I don't really want it.
That's amazing. Did they like inflate the price or anything?
Let me see.
I'm looking at the
take it
map,
down.
and I just saw it's just sad because there's just the lonely chocobo in the bottom on the left, and I thought like, oh, he's just all alone.
Someone scratch his ears quick.
The shopper is definitely there, and they say, "It's here. The day's finally come. It's your day to shop." Let's see here. The nurse says, "You probably don't remember, but do you know that girl who was watching over you while you were sick? You'd better be good to her. If you don't, you'll be sorry. Believe me."
That's so good.
That was good. Yeah, it was really good. The shopper does say, oh yeah, I'm sorry. So the shopper has one more line of dialogue after they say, "Your day to shop." They say, "Do we have items and weapons?" Interrobang. "Well, I should say so. And here's a bargain. What would you say? Half off of everything."
Oh, hell
Hold on. ... Just kidding. Even I wouldn't do something like that. Now, what do you want?
Well, I mean, to sell them at cost is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, that's not bad.
And the doctor says, "Oh, how did you get over your Mako poisoning? I'm so glad for you. It looks like your friend's wishes came true." So, after
sweet.
that, I did what you did last time, and I did some self-care.
Hell yeah.
And I ran around and did some grinding. I got Contain all the way up, and I was able to use all the different skills in Contain, and god damn, what a good materia.
Chocobo for that Contain.
I know.
Yeah.
That is such a good... Like, I never got that materia before.
I know, me neither.
Rules.
So I also...
Did we talk about what Contain does?
Yeah, we talked about like the spells that you can use with it. We talked about Break, and none of us knew what it is. Break is a ridiculous spell when you use it.
It's so awesome.
It's like I feel like it's like a Pokemon move where it's just like a giant stone appears over them and then it just shatters. Like I don't know.
When I say awesome, I mean like the amount of damage.
Oh yeah, no, it does
a
ton of damage. Yeah.
Also, I don't have. I for the first time got somebody's level 4 limit break.
Nice.
I got Yuffie's, and it rules, and it did over 8,000 damage, and I was like,
"Fuck yeah,
so much damage."
Oh yeah, what's it look like?
I tell you what. Let's talk about what they look like on our limit break episode that we'll have later in the season. Oh, woo! All right, so are we ready to talk about what the listeners might want to play before next episode?
Probably.
Yeah, I think
All right. So next week we're going to go back to Junon for the last time, unless you want to go do other things in Junon later. The last time you have to go back to Junon.
There's a lot of dogs there.
There are a lot. Ooh, there's one more we haven't seen yet, isn't there? Ooh, one more good
Keep an eye out.
Mm-hmm.
One more dog.
One more dog, it's time to celebrate.
We're up all night to pet puppies. Yeah. I'm sorry. Anyway.
No, that's so good.
But we're also going to... So, like, basically there will be a little bit of hijinks in Junon. And we're going to get our last mode of transportation. Mm-hmm. But then we're also going to do the sunken ship Gelnica as well, because we'll be able to do it right afterwards.
Right.
And there's no... I mean, there's very small amounts, but there's a little plot that happens in Gelnica, but it's entirely missable. I think there might be like 5 text boxes total or something like that.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. For any listeners who are playing along with us, Gelnica is technically a like post-game dungeon. So if you're getting fucked, you might want to go get some of that contained materia. You might want to do a little AP grinding.
Yeah, you might want to have some self-care.
Because there's going to be quite a difficulty spike going from Junon to the Gelnica.
Yep.
Which we've talked about on one episode before. The Gelnica is that weird carrier plane that sits on the Junon thing.
Oh, yeah.
That there are multiple of.
Yep.
That I was like, why doesn't Rufus just take that? He has a fucking plane.
Yeah.
He could take it.
He just loves taking other people's shit. That's why we must take the huge materia from him.
Yeah, it's true.
To teach him a fucking lesson.
It's comeuppance.
He's a fucking little spoiled rich kid.
That's right.
Gotta, this is praxis.
He's a real fucking Eric Trump, ain't he?
Whoa.
Whoa.
He's a lot smarter.
That's fair.
Yeah, he leads with fear. He's got better hair.
He's got a better smile. The tooth to gum ratio.
Man,
Gelnica.
So yeah, we're gonna go there. We're gonna get some good ass materia there. And just so again, so the listener knows, there's some missable plot there that if we wait until disc 3, you can't actually see it. So do it now, get it out of the way, and we'll talk about that next episode.
Hell yeah.
That sounds great.
And
that sounds grapes.
If you're experiencing the difficulty spike, feel free to just pop on that invincibility shit on the Switch version.
Oh, that's true.
Or just use Black Chocobo to do Alex's flavor of cheating.
Which you can export into Steam or PSP is pretty cool.
Oh,
wow, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
That is cool.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I actually do really. I like this section of the game as well.
I'm gonna try hard it and try to not use the invincibility and see how deep I can get.
You may already know this, Carl. I'm not sure. But we're going to be fighting a boss next episode that has large relevance in speedruns.
Oh, yeah.
In being almost a fucking dice roll of whether your fucking your speedrun ends
on
this one or not.
I don't know if Alex cut it out or not, but I think we've name dropped it.
Have we?
In the past on an episode, yeah.
Okay.
So. Oh, maybe.
God, this game is so good.
Oh, it's so
God,
good.
this fucking, oh!
I feel like there was something else I wanted to bring up, but I don't remember. I want to give a shout out to Corey for bringing down the train knowledge and putting us all embarrassing us on Twitter.
Oh yeah, it's called a cab.
It's called a fucking cab.
And the engineer in New York City subways or trains, I guess, I forget which. So Corey at me, but they sit in the middle of the train.
He's a line leader, and if you're in kindergarten. The theme music is a remix by DJ Cutman. Feature music is by Nobuo Uematsu. Corey reached out to me to correct me. I'm sorry. I'm gonna.
I like that you just cut your losses and started calling him Nobi Boy for the last several episodes.
Leave us a review on iTunes. It helps the ratings. It's also just great seeing what people think.
Yeah, I love when people leave reviews.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Aerith, all that shit.
Also, we've been getting some good Twitter interactions too from people, and I fucking live for that shit. Like, it makes my day every time I see somebody is like added us on Twitter, and we do interact with people. So like, do add us on Twitter.
Sometimes it might take us a couple of days because I, for one, have all of my Twitter notifications turned off, and I have to manually check them, and I'm bad at checking my phone. So
somebody added us and told us that indeed Barrett is a rifle manufacturer.
Hell yeah!
Right.
Also, some information that there is one scene in the whole like Final Fantasy VII lore where they say Kate.
Yeah. And so, a friend of mine, friend of the show, Peter, was actually talking about it, I think, on my Twitch stream, maybe, and mentioned that in the game Dirge of Cerberus, I think it is, Sid is in it, and he has a line where he says Ketchi, but he pronounces it Kate.
Kate She?
He just says Kate.
Oh, Kate.
Only Kate.
What a goddamn disaster.
So the canonical
I guess that is canonical. Yo, as far as I'm concerned, it's Kate now.
At least
Yeah.
the way he says it.
Oh man.
Oh man, he is a boomer.
I was gonna say.
Kate Sith
Yeah, Kate Sith.
Hell
on
yeah.
He has a southern
your
drawl.
Nintendos. I don't know. I don't know who he is. Anyway.
Eh.
But yeah, follow us every F and FF on Twitter, Instagram. Check out Instagram for pictures of anything we mentioned, like weird screenshots that Curse loses his shit looking at, out of context stock photos and things like that. And yeah, on Twitch, I guess Carl, you're probably gonna do a repeat of your charity stream coming up, maybe.
Yeah, I think I'm
For
going to be
future-
doing that this Sunday, which at the time of this episode being released will be like 2 days from now. So
Cool.
Probably not enough
to
lead time,
support the real troops.
the children.
The children.
The true troops.
Man, this is very petering out. I'm losing.
Yeah,
this is a
No,
very
it's all right.
This is,
I have something on my phone
this
ready
is,
to
this
go.
Is, this is a very perforated.
I do want to.
outro.
I do want to quickly say it's Tyler on Twitter who reached out about the Barrett and like what it actually is.
Okay.
And I know that Tyler has also reached out in the past before, so big shout outs to again, just like kind of like promoting the show,
Yeah.
just like of their own volition, which is so cool.
Oh,
So
super
thank you
fucking
so
awesome.
much, Tyler.
Yep. All right, we good?
I think we're good.
I guess
I-
we got loaded up.
All I want to say is I would like Carl to join me if he'd like.
I think I know what's coming.
That we're here and now, but will we ever be again? 'Cause I have found that all that shimmers in this world is sure to fade away again. Dreams, champagne, dreams.
That song fucking whips.